Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another episode here on the SitRep Podcast. I'm your host, Ariskany Jim, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Falklands War of 1982, the 40th anniversary of which has just recently passed us. So we didn't want to let it go completely by us, unobserved, so we wanted to take at least a cursory look at it. Now, everyone, before we get too into it, I do want to address one small thing that has come up recently. Um, we wanted to send a quick shout out to our friend Paul. His YouTube channel is pbeccas, if I'm saying that right. The link is in the description of our video. He's sort of a sister channel to the SitRep podcast. He does a lot of the same content that we do. Like military, historical miniatures, and wargaming stuff like that. Same general content, not exactly what we do, but close. And he's roughly the same size we are. A small gaming YouTube channel. Trying to get started. From what we hear, he's going through a very tough time right now. He put out a short update on his channel recently. There's a lot of medical stuff going on. Some of it's getting pretty heavy. It sounds like he's on the mend, but for a while there, it sounds like it was, kind of tough. Again, I don't want to put too much detail out there because, that's not my business to do that. The updates that he put out on his channel go into a lot more detail, and of course, it's coming straight from the horse's mouth. So if you're a follower of pbeccas, send him, some support. If you're not, again, the link is in the description. It's pbeccas. If you don't want to follow the link in the description of this video, it leads to his YouTube channel. Consider giving him his channel a subscription, or his videos some views, or just a message to let him know that we're thinking of him. So SitRep Podcast is definitely thinking about you, Paul, and keep fighting, and we hope that things take a turn for the better very, very soon. Okay, guys. So back to what we were, originally going to talk about here. We're going to take a look at Falklands War 1982. Again, using Valor Victory Modern Expansion. Valor Victory World War II squad-based wargame, originally by Doyle. I picked it up and I designed a modern expansion for it, submitted it for Barry's approval. He approved it. It's now out there and published. It's available on our Discord. It's available on Board Game Geek. Free to download, print, and play. And so let's go ahead and get started. So I don't think I have to explain to too many people what the Falklands War was all about. A series of small islands in the South Atlantic that had been in a state of contest. The Argentinians invaded in April. The British came down here. They started naval and air operations in May. At the very end of May, they landed some troops here in San Carlos Bay, and that began the ground battles that we're going to talk about very briefly here. So when the Argentinians first came in, they kicked down the front door and they took the place over. And that's what they were prepared for when the British came in to retake the islands. They put all their defenses over here, expecting an invasion straight into Port Stanley. The British are like, we're not going to do it that way because, we weren't born yesterday. They came in through the back door here at a place called San Carlos Bay. The plan was to put, I think it was 3rd Commando Brigade over here, some paras and some Royal Marine Commandos, I think 3 battalions in all. They were going to drop them off here. They were going to take over some of these small hills and facilities here, and it was called the Sussex Hills. Now the plan was, you put the troops here, you secure your flank here at the Battle of Bruce Green, and then once you take over some facilities over here, you get a bunch of helicopters. You load all your paras and all your Marine Commandos into your helicopters, and you chippity-chop their way across the island here. This is about 50 nautical miles, and you assault Port Stanley, okay, through the back door, so to speak. How well do you think that plan worked? Yeah, me neither. Because all the helicopters were loaded aboard a ship called the SS Atlantic Conveyor, which wound up taking 2 Exocet cruise missiles down the throat. She rolls over and sinks, and there go all the helicopters. So it was time to cross East Falkland the old-fashioned way, with your black Cadillacs, as we used to call them here in the U.S. We don't call them that anymore because our combat boots aren't black anymore, but yeah, pretty much you lace up your boots, you shoulder your 90 or 110 pound pack, with all your crew sword weapons and everything else, and you just, they called it yomping, we called it humping, so I'll use yomping because that's the British term. And they literally just, you know, yoms across the friggin' island. Again, you cannot move in the day, and we'll talk about that in a second. So they had to do everything at night. 50 miles, no roads, broken ground, carrying 110-pound packs, and you have to cross that in like less than a week, like 4 days. But that's what they had to do, because when the plan goes sideways, you have to sort of improvise, overcome, and adapt. Okay, so again, now we're zooming in a little bit here, and now we're looking at where some of the actual battles took place on the night of 11 to 12 June 1941. Oh, sorry, 1982, 1941. I'm still thinking about Barbarossa. Sorry about that. So 1982, excuse me very much. What we're looking at today specifically is 45th Royal Marine Commando. That's part of 3rd Commando Brigade under Brigadier General Julian Thompson. And this is the general area we're looking at here. 45th Marine Commando attacking with a mountain that they call the Two Sisters. It was basically a mountain that had 2 little peaks on it, so they called it the Two Sisters. Previously here on the SitRep podcast, we have done 3rd Para Commando against Mount Logden. Today we're doing a different battle. I wanted to include the Marines as well as the Paras. So we're going to take a look at that in just a second. Here's a little bit more of a zoom in. What I like about this map is that it actually includes Argentinian positions and dispositions and units. Objectivity and looking at things from the enemy perspective or from the other side's perspective is very important when you're doing any kind of serious, military study or history or even a decent war game. And I'll be honest, when it comes to objectivity, this is a problem, a big problem here in when it comes to the Falklands. You get very, very little from the Argentinian perspective, to the point where half the time you can't even find where certain units were. But that's starting to redress itself in recent years, so happy to say that. And then again, here's a super zoom in. What we're going to be looking at specifically here is Z Company or Zulu Company, a 45th Royal Marine Commando. That's specifically made up of 7th, 8th, and 9th Troop, 45th Commando Royal Marines. And they're going to assault, again, we see here a hill, 2 sisters, and it's got 2 basic promontories or 2 basic peaks here. We're going after the northern one that was codenamed Summer Days. So we did a fair amount of research. We wanted to make sure that we had the right weapons complement for a Royal Marine rifle section. It is different from a Para, and it is different from just standard British Army back in 1982. One thing I found particularly interesting is they ditched at least one of their, the real name of the weapon is the FN Mag. The Americans call it the M240. This is one of those weapons that's exported to everybody. I believe the British call it the L7. General purpose machine gun. If I'm incorrect about that, please correct me in the comments. It's the same weapon, it just has different names with different country services. I think the Canadians call it like the C7 or something. I think the Australians have their own name for it. Everyone that uses it, or all the NATO countries use it, except for Germany and France probably. Pretty much if you speak English, this is your one of your medium machine guns, or general purpose machine guns. However, they weren't using it that much in the Falklands, the Marines weren't anyway, because they found that the icy conditions in the Falklands would jam up the belts. So they went back to the old World War II Bren guns. I mean, look at this thing. Old tricks are the best tricks, I guess. We went into how the actual companies, because again, we're doing one full company of 45th Royal Marine Commando, how the actual companies were built back then. And this is the terrain. Okay, so this is what I kept mentioning before in the Falkland Islands. Yeah, when your battlefield looks like this, guys, you don't do anything in the daytime, because the enemy can see you and shoot you and hit you and kill you with modern weapons, with contemptuous ease. Everything has to be done at night. Remember, this is 1982. I think there was a grand total of 2 sets of starlight scopes, 2 starlight scopes, like the very, 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 very first starlight scopes, somewhere on the Falkland Islands. I don't even know if they were ever actually used, but they were technically in theater. Long story short, nobody really has meaningful night vision here. So you have to do everything at night, and darkness is still good cover. So everybody did everything at night. When combat got into the daylight hours is when you have things like RFA Galahad, Goose Green. You have all the big British disasters in the Falklands conflict. You cannot do anything at night. There is no cover. You are 1,100 miles north of Antarctica. I think it's kilometers. 1,100 kilometers north of Antarctica. You're only 1,400 kilometers north of the Antarctic Circle. It's cold as hell down here, especially in May and June. Remember, this is the southern hemisphere. May, June, July, August, those are the winter months. And again, outside of some grass and moss, there ain't shit growing on here. There's no hedges, there's no bushes, there's no trees, there's no cover. And again, 3,500 people on an island, you know, like probably half the size of Northern Ireland. There are no buildings, really. So long story short, no cover. Again, if an enemy platoon or an enemy battalion is coming down this slope, you can see them from, that's got to be at least 3 or 4 miles away. You've got artillery, you've got them done. You have to do everything at night. Unless you can hide behind sheep, I guess. Now, another terrain feature that we're going to see a lot of in today's game is this folded quartzite. It's a rock formation that we see in a bunch of places in the world. It's very prominent in the Falklands. This is kind of the only cover that you see. And it's this living rock that just juts up out of the ground. And the Argentinians were, I mean, holy hell, that's practically a natural made castle. Look at that. You could set up a platoon of infantry in there, and you would need a friggin' tactical unit to get them out of there. Royal Scots found out that they had to do it with a bayonet charge. To my knowledge, I could be out of date on this, it's the last recorded live bayonet charge in an actual battle. Military history is still, I think it's 1st Battalion Scots Guards, because that was the only way to get the Argentinians out of these rocks, was with a bayonet charge at night, cold steel at night. The choppers that went to the bottom of the sea, yeah, that's SS Atlantic Conveyor. That was unfortunate. I mean, obviously because of the, you know, well, it's always unfortunate, clearly, you know, when ships get blown up in combat, because people do go down with the ships. I don't think loss of life was too bad aboard SS Atlantic Conveyor. The really bad one is RFA Galahad, which wasn't an Exocet, actually. I think it was an A4 Skyhawk with a 500-pound bomb. It just hit a really bad spot on the ship and almost blew the Welsh Guards clean out of the war. It's the biggest single loss of life the British suffered in the Falklands War. Not only did it, you know, kill and wound a lot of people aboard the ship, but then the Welsh Guards had a hell of a time, you know, getting off the ship because it's not in the best of shape. You know, that's part of 5th Infantry Brigade. They were landing with, again, the Scots Guards I mentioned before, and 1st Battalion 7th Gurkhas. So yeah, the British were bringing all their best regiments in to help in this battle, and one of them just had a really bad time getting in. Tumble Down was a hell of a mess for the British as well, says Toughy Ears. Yeah, I haven't done Tumble Down yet, but we do have it here in our map, and it is definitely one of the reasons Tumble Down was so bad, and this does relate to today's game, is obviously the Argentinians lose this battle historically, and when they all retreat, they all go back to Tumble Down. The guys from over here, this is Delta Company, 4th Regiment of Infantry, they retreat, they wind up in Tumble Down. These guys, when the Mount Harriet falls, they pretty much everybody retreats to Mount Tumble Down. So by the time we get to Mount Tumble Down, it's rough. It's rough. I believe that is, you know what, let me not say because I'm going to get it wrong. That's definitely going to be 5th Infantry Brigade down here that go after, I think, Wireless Ridge and definitely Tumble Down. That might be the Royal Scots Guards. The bayonet charge I was just talking about. I think that may be Tumble Down. I'll have to check my notes on that and be 100% sure. I'm like 90 to 85% on that. Tough Ears also says Waterloo Uncovered has been doing videos on YouTube about the Falklands. Oh, cool. The Brents may have been the weapon that would have been on whatever troop carriers that would normally have been part of the forces. Yeah, but the Marines, again, according to my research, the Royal Marine Commandos in this particular battle liked the Bren. It was a little lighter, and again, they had to walk 50 miles across a lot of broken ground. It was a little bit lighter, and fire superiority tactics, where you need big belt-fed machine guns, of course the Bren is magazine-fed, don't matter quite as much when your engagement range is like 30 feet, because you have to do everything in pitch black darkness. And again, from what I've read, it is the icy conditions were not playing nice with that disintegrating link belt that goes into the M240 slash L7A1 slash FN mag slash C7 slash whatever you want to call it. The big NATO general purpose machine gun. Let's see here. The Falklands have more sheep than buildings. I'm almost positive that's correct. At the time, I'm not sure about right now, but at the time, we were looking at 3,500 people, I think it was, on the Falklands in general, and that's it. And like 95% of that was in Port Stanley. And then once in a while, you get like these little buildings where you're literally herding sheep. We will have a few of them on today's map. 12 died on the Atlantic conveyor. Yeah, that's actually not. I mean, it's horrible, I'm sure, but for a ship that size to sink, to take that kind of damage, I can't remember how many died on Galahad. It was a lot more than 12. If memory serves, it was like 55, 65, something like that. It was pretty bad, and a lot of that's just the casualties. It's very tempting when you're reading about this stuff to look at just the killed and say, oh, the wounded, they got better, they made it home. A lot of the wounded on Galahad were due to fire, and not the kind of fire that changes your life. The Galahad was a very nasty incident. So, I mean, as bad as it was, if you just look at the death toll, which again is the highest in the British death toll, it's the highest single British loss of life in the Falklands. It was actually a lot worse than that. Okay, so we've been talking about our map, so let's get to our map. Here is our map. It is 4 standard Valor Victory boards, so 24 by 12. That makes it 720 meters across, or yards, whatever you want to call it. In 50 millimeter, this would be about 22 feet across, 11 feet deep. It'd be a pretty serious board. We've got about 200 troops on the table, all told. So speaking of troops, let's quickly go through the orders of battle here. Now, unlike a lot of Valor Victory Modern Expansion, this will not be insurgents versus regular army. These are actually 2 regular armies going after each other. They are regular armies of different caliber. Obviously, Royal Marine Commandos are going to be a little bit better than Argentine reservists. However, it is still 2 regular armies. So there's no civilians on the table. There won't be. Both sides have to evacuate casualties, and both sides have medics. So it's 2 regular armies going at it, as opposed to the usual, much more asymmetric insurgent, terrorist, rebels, whatever you want to call it, versus some sort of government regular army. So we did want to make sure that the overall leadership situation for the British was better than the Argentinians. So I do have 2 -0 commanders. Again, this negative number up here is a bonus. So this is the best leader. These guys are okay. These guys are technically leaders, but they're pretty crappy. So I know a lot of people look at that negative number and they think that's a penalty. That's actually a bonus. Speaking of which, Mr. Jaime, if I'm saying that right, he was a major, was the actual Argentinian commander on the day. This is B Company, Regimiento de Infanteria, I'm probably not doing this very well, Mecanizado. So basically, Mechanized Infantry Regiment, B Company of the 6th Mechanized Infantry Regiment. That was most of what was there. There was also some attachments. The 2 units were this was kind of like the joint between those 2 units. On this table, you will see some elements of D Company of 4th Infantry Regiment as well. What's kind of weird about the Falklands War is both sides were using almost exactly the same gear. They both were they were both using FN Fall rifles. The British called the L1A1. They were both using M72 laws from the United States, and they were both using, again, the same FN mag. Again, I think the British call it something different, but it's the exact same weapon. Oh yeah, here it is, the L7A2. So if you look at the L7A2 and the FN mag, yeah, surprise, surprise, they have the exact same picture. They have the exact same numbers. When you look at our Somalia stuff or our Desert Storm Force, you're going to see Americans carrying M240s with the exact same picture, the exact same numbers. Yeah, it's all the same weapon. So over here to our British forces, again, we're looking at 7, 8, and 9 troops, basically platoons, of 45th Royal Marine Commando, specifically Z Company. They called it Zulu Company, or at least that was their battle cry. Captain Cole was the actual commander of the day. These two are just generic commanders. I actually have them named after British historians. We have David Snow and, of course, our boy David Fletcher from the Bovington Tank Museum. This guy, however, Lieutenant Dietor, Dietor, I'm assuming I'm mispronouncing his name again, was, again, he actually commanded 8 troop on the day. He did really well. He wound up winning a military cross for his action on this night. So I went ahead and actually named the correct commander after him specifically. He said, yeah, can't remember what exactly he said. Oh, yeah, because 45th Royal Marine Commando, I don't know if they're all Scotsmen, but I do know that they're based in Scotland. And he was laying there on his belly while his platoon was pinned down by Argentine machine gun fire in this battle. And he remembered a story where in World War II, somebody from the Black Watch yelled out to his men, "Are you boys with the Black Watch or aren't you?" or something like that. And he got up and he led his men forward. He kind of did the same thing. He jumped up and he yelled, I think, "Zulu, Zulu, Zulu," which again is the battle cry of Z Company or Zulu Company, 45th Royal Marine Commando. After the battle, he confesses, "I went back and I reread the book about that story, that guy from the Black Watch, when he did that and he cried out, 'Are you boys with the Black Watch or aren't you?' or 'Is this the Black Watch or isn't it?' something like that. And he jumped up to lead his men forward. He was instantly, quote, cut in half by a German machine gun." And then he says, "If I had remembered the ending of that story, I may not have done what I did." Nevertheless, he did it. He got away with it. And his platoon, or his troop, I should say, 8th Troop, is the one that really broke the Argentinian positions historically. And he wound up walking away with a military cross. So who knows if it's actually going to happen that way again today. So here are the Argentinian forces. They're already set up. Here are all the victory condition hexes, or all the objective hexes. It's the usual, you have to take 5 hexes to, there are 5 hexes on the board. You get 5 points if you hold one at the end of the game. Of course, right now the Argentinians hold all of them. So it's up to the British to come in from this red line up here and pretty much take the whole, or take as much of the map as they can, while keeping their own losses at least, under control. 48 died on Galahad. I thought it was more than that. I mean, I trust you, tough ears, but I could have sworn it was like 55 or 65. 48 is better, so cool. It's been a couple years since I read that material. I really took a deep dive into the Falklands for the Op Center episode, but even that was like late 2019, so it's almost 3 years ago. Could be a little rusty. But thanks very much for the fact check, Tuffy. Okay, so we were supposed to have an opponent today. I'm not sure what happened. Something went wrong with the communications. I can't get a hold of my opponent. So this has turned into more of a demo game. We may not finish the whole thing, but I'll just go through very quickly. I know we've had a bit of an introduction here. We'll go through quickly. Solitaire games tend to go very fast because I don't have to explain the rules to myself or anything like that. We'll go through this quickly. And if you guys have an actual rules question, put it in the comments and I'll answer it then. Otherwise, I will not, stop and explain every rule, every move, every die roll. I'll just kind of buzz through the turn sequence here, and we'll see where we wind up. Okay, so the British again come on, have the initiative. They are attacking. They have to enter in this red strip of hexes here, and this is to sort of correspond with our historical documentation, where they're attacking this place more or less out of the west-northwest. Okay, so here we go. I apologize if the stream gets a little quiet right at the moment, but again, you guys are probably sick of hearing me talk anyway. Oh, before we get too deep into it, this is a night battle. So super fast, we do have some nighttime engagement rules. The battles are at night with no meaningful NVG equipment. So units have 3 states. Pretty much assume the entire table is one giant smokescreen. In the language of other game systems, you cannot see anywhere. Okay, so units have 3 states: darkness, spotted, or illuminated. If you're in darkness, you cannot be fired at. You can be walking around in an open field, hands in the air, singing a song or whatever. It doesn't matter. Nobody can see you. You cannot be shot at. You cannot take opportunity fire, or you cannot be subject to opportunity fire or support missions. If you are spotted, units become spotted if they fire. In other words, we see the muzzle flash, we hear the noise. Units that are spotted can be engaged at 3 hexes or less. After that, you can't be seen at all, even if you're firing. Even then, you're having to apply a penalty because you're only shooting at noises and muzzle flashes. You're not shooting at individual people. So we have to add a +1 cover bonus to all anti-personnel firepower checks or support mission anti-personnel firepower checks. That's to the anti-personnel firepower roll, not the initial targeting roll. You have to roll a 4 down on a d6. Now, a unit is illuminated if it is in flare light. There are flares in this game. So again, normally when you drop the table is in daylight, you see the enemy, you drop a smoke screen on them, and it obscures the hex and all the hexes around him. Here, it's the opposite. Figure the entire board is one giant black smoke screen called darkness, called nighttime. And a flare is like an anti-smoke screen that negates that effect in its hex and all adjacent hexes. Once a unit is illuminated, you can be engaged at any range. So this is where it gets really bad. If you're like these Argentinians are up on high ground, let's say, and here comes this Royal Marine half squad, say he's here in this stream, I drop a flare on him, I can shoot at him freely. He can't shoot at me even if I shoot at him because I'm 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hexes away. Yeah, he has a range of 5, who cares? When you're shooting at muzzle flashes, when you're shooting at a spotted unit, the range is only 3. So this is where, control of the light becomes very, very important in nighttime battles. This is what went absolutely sideways when we did 3 para commando versus Mount Longdon. Is he had a sniper appear out of nowhere and took out my mortar team, and my mortar team was the one dropping the flares. And basically, I lost control of light. He still had flares. He could call in from his off-board mortar batteries. I had no flares, so he got to control what was visible and what wasn't. Needless to say, I didn't do very well on that, as the Argentinians. Yeah. So anyway, these rules talk about how the illumination works and so on and so forth. So again, I won't bog down the stream too much rules discussion. I got the figures from Wikipedia, so it might be wrong. You're probably right. Wikipedia is getting a lot better than it used to be. Again, I remember 45, 60, like 55 or so, but that's 3 years old, and my memory is not what it used to be. Hello, Ben. Thanks very much for coming by. Wikipedia wrong? Never happens. Yeah, Wikipedia is not the best. What I often do is I go to Wikipedia, and rather than use the information really in the Wikipedia, unless it's something very high level, like how to spell a general's name or something, something like very high level, surface level, quick and easy. But then you scroll down to the bottom and you look at the sources, and sometimes those sources are internal links, or I should say, they're links, they're hyperlinks to other websites that have better information. Sometimes you find really good PDFs, first-hand PDFs. I found a lot of declassified CIA, DIA, DOD stuff on the Gulf War that way. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Do I want to jump up on that ledge? I don't think I do. Actually, no, I don't. So, okay, he'll stay down there for now. Let me zoom in a little so I can build better platoon stacks. One, two, three, four, into a stream and rocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I can't do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's an important move. We'll see why next turn. They're gonna take some heat, but that's okay. They've got cover. They're hiding in one of those quartzite rock piles we were showing earlier. That's what this jagged marble-looking material is. It's that folded quartzite we were talking about before. They are like buildings in standard Valor and Victory. They're a +3 cover bonus, and they cost 2 points to move into. To rearrange my stacks here. Did I not make myself have enough leaders? Or I should say, did I build this game with not enough leaders? There's a full stack. Okay, I got away with it barely. Alright. The maximum stacking is 4 infantry units and a hex. Now again, these Bren and L2s, or I'm sorry, L7A2s, are additional to the Brens and L7A2s that are already integral to the rifle sections in question. Actually, yeah, that's fine. Give this guy the extra Bren. Okay. So there we are with Zulu, 45th Royal Marine Commando, 7, 8, and 9 troops. Okay, so we're halfway through turn 1 already. Okay, Argentinian defensive fire. Oh wait, I haven't actually deployed these 2 squads yet. Sorry. I put the stacks together, but didn't actually put them on the table. Alright, there we go. Alright, so there we go. I'll check out the comments here. Cool. So that's the end of British movement phase. There wasn't a fire phase. There wasn't a command phase because the British weren't even on the table yet. The British didn't even enter the table until their movement phase. We now go to Argentinian defensive fire, which, yes, the Argentinians are going to take some defensive fire. This mortar section way back here, which has a range of 12, is going to drop a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. He's going to drop a flare, poof, right over top of those British. Actually, I'll drop it on this unit, because that unit is going to take more damage. I realize that these guys are pretty much a speed bump, and it would behoove me. I can't see this guy, this stack. I can't see this stack. They're right behind that ledge there, either in Hex, Charlie 4, and Delta 3. I could hit this one, although I'd be scraping past that quartzite, and then shooting into this quartz site. That would be a total of +4 to my die roll. This guy's kind of in the open. So I'm going to go ahead and illuminate that hex. Now, there's a flare on that hex, which means that hex is lit up, and all the hexes around it are lit up. Continuing with the rest of my movement phase. I'm sorry, with the rest of Argentinian defensive fire. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And another 8 is 16, so I'm going to take 2 groups of 8. You're going to shoot on him. I do have range on both of them, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yep. Okay, turn on Mr. Webcam. As soon as I can find my stupid camera. There we go. Alright, first the ones in Gulf 5. They're shooting their rifles. They're not shooting that wall rocket. That wall rocket only has a range of 3. Plus, it's a fire and forget weapon. You fire it and it's empty. It's not reloadable. I am going to hold off until I get assaulted by the Royal Marines, which I'm sure will be less than pleasant. Alright, but until then, I'm going to take down some British troops if I can. With a 5, that's not too bad. 5 on... Come on. 5 on the 8 row is 2 casualty points. Pin the medic, pin the half squad. Next, we have another 4 points coming in this way. A 7 on as 1 more casualty point. I will hit the full squad. Oh no. One, two, three. Oh, I can't see because of the ledge. There's a 50 cal hiding in there. British Royal Marines do specifically recount in their memoirs being fired at by 50 calibers. So there is 150 caliber on the table. However, the way it's deployed, it's kind of a last-ditch Alamo position. It can't see over this ledge. It's too far back from the ledge. If it was here, just for example, or here, pretty much if it was up against this elevation line, yeah, then it could see straight down this slope and hit them. But because of where it is, I cannot shoot them. And I'm pretty sure everything else is more or less out of range. Shot him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, yeah, out of range. And everything else is out of range. Alright, cool. So that will end defensive fire for the Argentinians. We then go to advance and assault phase. We're good for the British, I believe. Because British direct fire is coming up right after, Argentinian direct fire is coming up right after this. Okay, after action phase. Here is where the British have to rally. And here is why it's good to be Royal Marine Commandos. And here's why I tend to... Tank Muppet, it's up to you. It's up to Dr. Fletcher from the Bovington Tank Museum. My girlfriend calls him that, by the way. I don't call him that, so... I'm sure David Fletcher does not watch our videos. If he does, I apologize. More importantly, I apologize to all the David Fletcher fans. But he kind of looks like a Tank Muppet. Alright, anyway. Mr. Fletcher, now that I've made fun of him, we're going to try to rally that first squad of Royal Marine Commandos. The rally roll is normally a 6. I need a 7 now because they're elite, hence the E in the upper corner. -1 for the leader. I need 8 or less on 2d6. This is kind of important. Sweet. The full squad rallies. Next, the half squad. They also rally, barely. Finally, the medic team. Sweet! Marines don't play. Granted, they're only British Marines. They're not American Marines. I offer this opportunity for anyone in the know to offer the joke about how Royal Marine Commandos absolutely whipped the shit out of American Marines at an NTC exercise in Southern California about 2 years ago. So go ahead and take your shots now. Like a platoon of Royal Marine Commandos, like completely flummoxed like a full battalion. I think it was 2-7. 2nd Battalion, 7th Marines. It was either at 29 Palms or NTC, Port Irwin. It was somewhere out there. So Gulf 5 and N5 are now spotted having fired defensive fire. Yeah, but unfortunately, no one was within 3 hexes. Ooh, actually, I take that back. Within 3 hexes. I can see past But if I was firing, it would be scraping fire. But I could see it. And this guy is right up there against the ledge. And I am not directly behind a intervening terrain feature. So this hex, John, good call. This hex can see that hex. This hex can see this hex, it's too far away. Again, that spotting rule is only effective up to 3 hexes. However, this guy is spotted. I should probably make like a little counter for that. But I don't really have one handy, so I won't worry about it. Tell you what, I will make this a different color. And it's only spotted for certain people. Is the real distinction. So I don't want to change the picture. I want to format the picture. Make it a slightly different color. Doesn't really matter. We'll make it just so it's easy to tell the difference. We'll make it green. Okay, so just to kind of remind myself, and thanks for the heads up on that, John. You're right. Golf 5 is spotted, but only from these guys right here. These guys are behind the ledge, even if they weren't, they're too far away. This guy has a clear elevation line, no worries there. He's just too far away. All right, cool. That's going to make a difference. Okay, but now we go to, unfortunately for me, the British player, the Argentinian turn. Okay, so now it's the bottom of the first turn, bottom of the first. Bottom of the first, we start with command phase. The Argentinians do have support missions. The Argentinians are going to get the ever-living crap kicked out of them. I've got to get every last lick in on the British while I can. I have to inflict casualties on the British now. I'm calling in all 3 of my light mortar missions right there on that guy. Historically, again, the Marines do report being under a mortar fire, and there was a battery of 120 millimeter mortars that was partially supporting this battle. Of course, I'm not going to be able to find it now. Yes, there's a little bit of a mortar battery way back here, 120s, that were supporting both of these battles. So there's not enough to support the Argentinians through the entire game. There's only 3 missions. I'm literally blowing my wad right now, and we'll see what happens. Okay, so first of all, I have to see if all 3 of those missions land where they're supposed to. Turn on Mr. Camera. Turn on Mr. Camera. I need a 1 through a 4 on a D6 per fire mission. Spotted what I spotted. Hell yeah, man. You got him. Yeah, Ben Johnson, that's him. That's Dave Fletcher. Trundle about the battlefield making great clouds of smoke. He's talking about the support mortars on the early Crusaders. Alright, so here we go. Okay, so 2 of them landed and 1 of them missed by 2 hexes. So 1 through 4, it hits. A 5, it misses by 1 hex. A 6, it misses by 2 hexes. So the one that missed by 2 hexes, clock ray method, number 6. So that one lands like over here. Boom! However, these 2 land right on target. On time and on target, and he ain't ever been that yet. Poor Mulligan. Some of you guys will get that joke. Alright, so it's a light barrage, it's yellow, there's no modifiers because he's in the open. Roll 2d6 twice, because again I hit with 2 fire missions. Oh, Jesus. Oh no. 5. That is 6 casualty points. Oh man. Alright. Again, this is the big Sunday punch for the Argentinians. If I don't knock down at least some Royal Marines here, I'm never going to do it. Alright, 7, that's a little better. That is 4 more. So a total of 10 casualty points. That platoon may be toast. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7, 8, 9. I gotta assess 10. I gotta kill somebody. Medic team, you're out of here. Alright, so that is a total of 6 right there. The casualty points plus 2 is 10. I'm sorry, 6 plus 2 is 8. And then the last 2 to get to 10. That's what I was going for there. Is going to be these 2. To pin them. So I pin Fletcher, he's worth 1. That's 9. And I pin the half squad, that's worth 1 more. That's 10. That was not good for the British. But that's it for off-board artillery for the Argentinians. Okay. Unfortunately, I think that platoon is going to get chopped up pretty bad because now comes direct fire for the Argentines. Oh no. Okay, so yep, that's it for now. I'm finishing up the command phase. Going once, going twice. Nothing else for command phase. We go to direct fire. 8 points. Fully illuminated. 9. The British caught a break there. 8 points. 9 is a miss. Okay, 8 points here as well. 8 points, no modifiers. There goes the break. All right, so that is 2 more casualty points. Yeah, that's pretty much it for that. All right, I'll catch up with everything else in just a second. Nobody else can see him. Nobody else can reach him. That concludes direct fire for the Argentinians. I don't have a fired marker, huh? That sucks. All right, I'll worry about that later. All right, so he's fired. He's fired. The rest of the guys can't. What I do need, however, is 3 British casualty markers. Actually 4. 2 for the full squad, 1 for the half squad, 1 for the medic team. All right. All right, so those 2 guys can't move. Give me just 2 seconds, everybody. What? I really should have one of these. Fire marker. Thank you. That's all I wanted. Damn it. All right, so this tracks what units have fired and what units haven't, so you know what units can move. Okay, on to the... oh, that's right. He was a copy. On to the fire movement phase for the Argentinians. Wonder if they should bail out of there. If they bail out, they'll take immediate opportunity fire. So I think they're just going to stay put. Those 2. Oh, also they just fired. They can't. Sorry. All right. Yeah, these guys are all going to stay put then. All right, cool. So that's it for the Argentinian movement phase. Defensive fire for the British. Yes, we do have some defensive fire. It's not great because the Argentinians are uphill and in pretty good cover. But I do have 12, 17. I'm not going to use the law. I'm going to save that for my assault. 17 plus 3 penalty. Into rocks, past rocks. -1 for the leader. So 17 net and 2. That becomes 9 on 17. I don't think that's anything. Nope. Alright, so he missed. This is British defensive fire. He's pinned. He can't see anything yet. Alright, we're going to leave that alone then. We then go to assault, advance and assault. For the British. No, for the Argentinians, sorry. See, they can only move one hex, and if they move but one hex, they're going to be... Okay, so the temptation is to shoot and scoot. These Argentinians just bail out of these, because right now this guy's spotted. If he displaces, he's no longer spotted. It's tempting to be cheesy and just do that. The problem is, if he does that, he can only advance an assault phase. He can only move one hex. He's now spotted. Well, he's not spotted, but he's... The British can call in a flare, and then he's in the open. He's going to get pasted. So command phase, they'll call in an off-board flare. Then they have actual howitzer missions they can call in. And then once that flare is there, he can take direct fire during the rest of the British phase. The British turn is coming up. The British move first on turn 2, obviously. And then he gets assaulted by these two groups. Which is probably what's going to happen anyway, but at least here I'm going to make the British dig me out of those rocks. These guys over here, the same thing. They would love to just bail out of there. Again, it's only one hex. For advancing assault phase, same thing. I think I'm just going to let him sit there and make him dig me out of those rocks. Make him dig the Argentinians out of those rocks. So advancing assault phase, honestly, I think the Argentinians are going to stay put. The Argentinians are on defense, and they're in rocks on high ground. They're not going to be moving much. In some ways, it's kind of a good solitary in retrospect. Okay, so that will conclude the turn. There's no after action phase for the Argentinians. No one's pinned, no one's bleeding. Let me just clean up the map board here a little bit. So right now the score is 8-0, Argentinians. Don't worry, that's about to change. Technically speaking, it's 33-0 because I hold all 5 objective X's as the Argentinians. The Argentinians hold all 5 objective X's. You get 5 points for an objective X, 2 points for a casualty point, assuming none of them bleed out and die or get captured. So time for, I would say the medic to do its job, but the medic is one of the casualties. Okay, that's okay. The British have another medic team. Hello, Rasmus. Oh, Ben, okay, so before I start turn 2, let me catch up on the chat. So Ben says Tank Fest is this weekend. Fletcher is probably signing autographs all day. Probably. If he hasn't retired yet. I hope he never does, but I don't know. I'm sure he still works there. Rasmus says hello. Welcome to the stream, Rasmus. Looks like there has already been some blood good carnage already. Yeah, the Argentinians got a little lucky with with their one and only 120mm artillery barrage. And the British were unfortunately in the open. Okay, so now we're in the British command phase of turn 2. First thing that happens, everything automatically rallies. Okay, there's only one unit there to rally. Second thing that happens, I'm calling in some missions. So clearly this stack can see that stack. So can this guy because he's now rallied. You can't pin when you're, you can't spot when you're pinned, but he's just rallied, so he's able to pin. He's able to spot now. All right. So I'm going to use up one of my British light barrages to call in a flare, and then seeing how that goes, I might call in 1 or 2 of my heavy barrages. Alright, so first of all, oops, sorry, the camera wasn't on. Flare number 1 and flare number 2 both wind up where they're supposed to. Poof, hiss, poof, hiss. Actually, I'm gonna get cheesy. poof, hiss. You drop it right behind the guy. Okay, and there's a reason for that. Again, it eliminates everything adjacent to him. So when I charge, I'll be in M4 or N3. I'll technically still be hidden. Same with down here. Okay. All right, so that's it for that. These barrages are used up. Now the British are going to call on the regular missions. Oh shit, I keep doing that. 2 and 3 for the British fire missions. Both sides are kind of going in all in with their artillery at first. Artillery and artillery. Okay. Oh god, 10. That's not very good on a heavy barrage. It's still 2 casualty points. Okay, so do I pin them both? Or do I kill one? I'm going to go ahead and kill one. It sounds bad, but if I pin them both, they're just going to get assaulted, and then they assault for free. They don't get to shoot back, there's no opportunity fire, there's no cost for the assault, plus they're automatically prisoners of war, wounded prisoners, which is double victory points for the British. So this is where you as the sergeant are pretty much making the decision. Enemy artillery is coming in, everybody hit the deck or stand on the parapet of the trench and keep firing. Yeah, I know some of you are going to get killed. That's literally what you're here for. Alright, so I'll just leave that alone for now. Okay, and then over here to this other one. Oh shit, that one turned out to be 7 plus 2 because of rocks. 7 plus 2 because of rocks is 9. 3 casualty points. 1 killed and he gets pinned. Fletcher, your little platoon did not die in vain. Okay, that concludes the command phase for the British. Okay, now we go to direct fire. Snow is going to pour all the fire he can up into that rock. Do what he can. It doesn't matter because I missed anyway, but last turn when Snow was firing up at these Argentinians, I forgot to apply an additional +1 for shooting at spotted targets. Now he's not spotted, now he's illuminated. So now there's no penalty, except for +1 for scraping past rocks and +2 for shooting into rocks. So now we're going to do it right, the +3. -1 for Snow's leadership bonus makes a net +2. Again, 17 points. I'm not going to assault with this squad, so I'm going to go ahead and cook off that law if it makes a difference. From 17 to 22, yes, it does make a difference. It puts me on the blue row. I'm firing off that law. That law is a one-use only fire and forget weapon. It's expendable. So that law just went up into those rocks. I'm now on the blue row, net add 2. Turn on the camera and advance this time, dummy. God damn it. The British got a bad die roll. Alright, that becomes a 10. It was a 10. Becomes a 12 on the blue row. That's nothing. And I lost my law. Damn you. Those rocks are tough, man. Also, it's +3 for rocks, dummy. +3 for rocks, +1. Yeah, you can't shoot them out of those rocks. You have to assault them. Okay, cool. That's it for British direct fire. Everybody else is going to be running somewhere. Okay, so speaking of which, let's get started on British movement. 1, 2, 3, 4. We got to get medics to those casualties. He obviously did not fire, so he's still eligible to move. These guys all fired, so nothing going on there. Now we're going to be doing some fire. Some movement. 1, 2, 3. Point blank opportunity fire. I'm firing that. Now the Argentinian is firing off his law. Point blank opportunity fire. He is not illuminated. He's only adjacent, so that basically makes him spotted. Because he's like basically they see the gleam of bayonets in the moonlight. That's what they're shooting at. Okay, so we're looking at a grand total of 9 points, because again, I just got rid of that law rocket. So 9 points, -2, Where was he? 1, 2, 3, 4. No, I can't use the soul movement. Damn it. All right. So it's -2 for point blank opportunity fire, +1 for darkness, +1. 9 points +1. Sorry, 9 points -1. The Argentinians are just killing it, man. The Argentinians are getting all the good die rolls. If the British lose, it's not because I'm playing them badly. It's because you guys are seeing the die rolls. That 5 becomes a 4 on 9 points. That is 4 casualty points. Oh my god. Reducing that full squad to a half squad. And then I'm going to pin the half squad. Alright, that is going to be 1 additional casualty counter for the British and that hex. Move him off to the side for now. Okay, so that assault is now going to go in. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to double assault that son of a bitch. In fact, I may send Dieter in there first because he's got a better roll. So I may do that and spare Cole's company command group additional casualties. This guy, he's now illuminated, but nobody can reach him really or see him. And this guy cannot shoot because obviously he's already taken his opportunity fire. Okay, other British movement, we took care of that. And that's really about it. Because they moved. Because they fire, they're not moving. Okay, cool. Next, we go to defensive fire from the Argentinians. Mortars. -2 commander against these guys. Please tell me they're rocks. Hold on. I don't want to have the Royal Marines get the hell shot out of them all at once. Where were these guys? They were here in this building. 1, 2, 3 over the wall. 1, 2, 3 over the wall. 5, 6. They'll assault from the south. Okay. Unfortunately, now this does mean that Coles is going to take this mortar fire. However, Cole is still in darkness, technically. He's being shot at as a spotted target, not an illuminated target. So that's going to be +1, -2 for the major, the Argentinian major. So it is a net -1. Hold on. Where's the stupid camera? All right, here we go. Okay, so that becomes a 6 on 6 points. 2 more casualty points. Good grief. All right, yeah, I'm going to pin him down. That assault's not going in. Otherwise, I'd have to flush even more casualties. I can't keep taking this many casualties over these little piddly wing speed bump positions. All right, that takes care of defensive fire. We now go to... So again, that is Snow making a command decision. Do I tell my guys to keep charging through the mortar fire, or do they all hit the deck? They all hit the deck. Now they're all pinned. However, I avoided taking additional casualties. I was able to do that because I brought in Lieutenant Dieter and 8 Troop here from the north. So again, with a little bit of tactics, I was able to sort of hedge my bets a little bit and lessen the impact of bad dice rolls. Most good war games, obviously you're going to get good die rolls and bad die rolls. A good war game allows you to lessen the impact of bad die rolls with forward thinking and forward planning. The flares aren't cheese. That's just good tactics. Yeah, you got to be careful with the light control of. This is what I learned to my cost. I played this live with Dylan, the guy who ironically was supposed to be playing with us today. I had the Argentinians, he had the British, and once I lost control of the light, damn, dude, that I was literally just a punching bag. I was just let me know when I'm dead. You know, he just literally picked me apart at his leisure. Um, Not bad game design. Obviously, Valor Victory is a great game. I'm very proud of Valor Victory Modern Expansion, and I like these night rules that I kind of whipped up for this scenario. So, obviously, Barry Doyle gets 95% of the credit because he laid down the bedrock of the Valor Victory system, and even he heavily borrows from Advanced Squad Leader, the old 1980s classic. So, yeah, these little games have a bit of a pedigree to them. All right, so I don't think I have any further. I would have liked to assault him before, but unfortunately, wait a minute. You know what, Snow? I'm serious, man. It's time. Can anybody reach him? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nope. Because by the time he is in range, he's out of the light. He goes in that hex. Fletcher's a one-man killing squad, man. Guess you can take opportunity fire against him. Nobody, because he's in darkness. He is literally the British Rambo. He's going to peel himself out of the darkness because the flare is here because of where I put the flare. If I had put the flare here, these guys could probably see him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, he'd be dead. He's in range. I have line of sight, and he's illuminated. He'd be so dead. I put the flare back here in Oscar 5, so now the flare is doing this. While I'm here, I'm going to launch an assault. If the assault is successful, spoiler, the assault is automatically successful because he's been down. However, I'm already in rocks, and because I'm tucked in behind this elevation line, there's no line of sight. So Fletcher is going for his military cross, man. He literally fixed bayonets by himself, tank Muppet on the attack. He is going to bayonet the hell out of these 4 pinned down Argentinians. He's going to take these 4 wounded Argentinians prisoner. Unfortunately, yeah, he will. 1 good order unit can handle up to 2 casualty counters. He might lose some casualties back here, though, because there's only the 1 guy there to, and there's still a flare there. So that 1 medic team might be in a little bit of trouble. Okay, so let's do the assaults. We've got 2 assaults going in. I don't think I have those in this next time. No. Alright, no worries. Come on, man. Apologies, guys. Give me 2 more seconds. I'm missing some of my game function counters here. What? Oh. Okay, never mind. Oh, just grab any of those. Ugh. Sorry, guys. I know this isn't like why you come to these streams to watch me play around in Excel. Oh, for crying out loud. Damn it, man. Sorry. Alright. That was annoying. Damn it. Alright, so we got 1 assault going in this way. And we have Mr. Fletcher. Alright. All opportunity fire has already been resolved, so let's go ahead and get to the red meat. Alright, cool. Good news is this assault automatically is successful. Because the only unit in there was pinned down. So it goes in there, it's automatically successful, and it's at 0 cost. So he is off the map. I gotta keep kind of careful track of my casualties here for scoring purposes later. So that was an easy one. Now for the tough one, because there is 4 guys left in there with all kinds of goodies, i.e. he can throw in one of his 4 grenades. Lieutenant Snow is throwing in at least 2 grenades. He's allowed to throw in 4 grenades if he wants. That's not Snow, that's Dieter. Sorry. So that's going to be 1 from the Argentinians, 2 from the British. You're allowed to throw in 1 per infantry unit, but I only have so many, so I don't want to waste them all now. All right, so that's going to be 20. Oh God, 28, 30. 30 to 7. You know what? I'm not throwing in this grenade. That's way past, and also -1 for me, for my leader. So it's literally going to be 11 or less on 2d6. And of course I roll a 12. Oh my God. It's not that bad. It's just embarrassing. Okay, so he technically repelled the assault. Technically. So the cost for repelling an assault is 1 casualty point per infantry unit that was in the attacking hex. There was a grand total of... Actually, you know what? I'm just going to make this simple. I threw in those grenades. Because this is... Yeah, now that 12 minus 2 becomes a 10. I mean, enough is enough. 4 infantrymen do not hold off 2.5 squads of Royal Marine Commandos. I mean, they do if they roll a 12. Bring 2 foot. Okay, cool. Now, the bad news for the British, even if that's a successful assault, which we're going to go ahead and call it a successful assault, is, first of all these grenades are used up, is I have to pay 3 points for the rocks. Basically, the cost for a successful assault is terrain bonus plus infantry counters. There was 1 infantry counter in the hex, so that's 1 casualty point, and 3 for the rocks, because digging people out of rocks is hard. So it's a total of 4 casualty points I have to assess against myself. I'm going to go ahead and take it easy on my guys and pin everybody. So 1 half squad, 2, 3, 4. I'm counting on their Royal Marine Commando-ness that at least one of them is going to rally and keep a hold of those prisoners. Wish me luck. At least one of them is going to make it. Even my dice aren't that bad. All evidence to the contrary. Then again, I'm playing the Argentinians too. I should have kept that 12. I'm like, yeah, man. These Las Malvidas, these are our islands. Get the hell out of here. John Bull. Sergeant Bean strikes again. By that I mean Rowan Atkinson and not Sean. Yeah, the magic of a Riskini and his friggin' boxcars. More carnage, even the dice can't mess with it. Yep, or even the dice can mess with it. Would it not already be -1 for the leader? Actually, you're right. Actually, you know what? You're right. You're totally right. But even that only gets to 10. But again, the chart ends at 4-1. I was at 7-1. I had 30 versus 4. So I'll just make sure. I'll just spend the grenades and make sure I'm not being cheesy. All right. So okay, that concludes assaults. Time for some after action phase. Okay, I have to rally the hell out of some. My British guys are pinned down all over the place. These Royal Marines have got to figure out what's going on here. Mr. Cole does successfully, I should say Captain Cole, does successfully rally full squad. Of course he doesn't. The half squad does. Alright, cool. At least there's someone there. Oh wait, no, I can't because they spent their move rally. Their after action phase rally, so I can't evacuate that prisoner. That prisoner does not bleed out. Okay, Dieter. Come on, dude. This isn't even like. Okay, Dieter makes it. The first squad makes it. The second squad does not. And the half squad does. Everybody but the second full squad. That's cool. I didn't expect to make all of them, but I had to have at least one of them. So this hex is hella messed up right now. Let me quickly do a little bit of housekeeping here. Yeah, there are 2 Argentinian casualties in the hex. Fortunately, everybody in the hex started off pinned, so no one was able to try to evacuate them this turn. Advance and assault phase, he'll also move forward 1 hex to get under, he'll move this way. So that he can not get hit in the upcoming Argentinian turn. Okay, medic automatically evacuates 1 casualty. So we'll put the casualties over here. That is 1 casualty successfully evacuated. The other 3 casualties in the hex. Oh boy, here comes the tough part. One of them bleeds out. One of them slips away. You will be double points for the Argentinian player. Okay, these 2 guys are hanging on. The medic will get to them as soon as he can. Okay, meanwhile, Mr. Fletcher. Mr. Fletcher here says, I gotta try to evacuate some of these, or secure or evacuate these Argentinian prisoners. He can only do 1 a turn. He has to roll an 8 or less on 2d6. The standard morale check. 6 is the standard morale check for any unit in Valor Victory. That goes up to a 7 because he's elite, and -1 for his leadership bonus. So a total of 8. Come on with the dice, man. Okay. That will conclude the British turn. Argentinian turn. Anybody pinned? They would rally if now's the time. There are no pinned Argentinian units. Argentinians have used up all of their support missions. Off-board support missions, anyway. There is 1 on-board mortar I get to use all game, but I have no more off-board missions for the Argentinians. Okay, we go to Argentinian direct fire. I can't see anything. Or I can see some things, but I can't reach them. This mortar barrage is going to drop a HE mission on this unit. Oh, before I forget. These flares start to dissipate. Everybody remind me, we have to do that at the beginning of each Argentinian turn. So they're starting to flicker and die out, but they're still there for now. Alright, so while that's still up, I should probably drop another turn. I can do that on my next fire phase. Okay, cool. I'm going to drop an HE frag on the hex there on those rocks. Yeah, it's crappy because I'm shooting into rocks, but he is illuminated because he's adjacent to a flare. So that's going to be +3 for the rocks, -2 for the commander that's running the mortars. So a net of +1. Here we go. Okay, you guys are seeing these rolls, right? The British are rolling 12s, the Argentinians are rolling 5s. So let's all get on Team Argentina, because apparently they're going to win this game. That was a net of +1 on all the modifiers. We wind up with a 6 on 6 points. That is 2 more casualty points. Here's the good news. No one's close enough to assault me, so I get to be cautious. And I'm just going to tell my guys, stay down. It's just a lot of fire and smoke and noise. It can't hurt you. And basically they're going to hide in the rocks. That does mean that they're pinned down for now. That's normally a bad thing, because then Argentinians would just assault you and wipe you out, but they're all too far away. So Dieter is just taking care of his guys right now. That's used up. That's used up. At the moment, Lieutenant Dieter's taking care of his guys, and he's trying to keep his casualties down. Frankly, the British have already taken too many freaking casualties. One of them is already bled out, so yeah, we gotta start doing something here. We've already lost one of our medics too. Okay, so I don't think there's too much else. Again, he's kind of cozied up right behind that elevation line, Lieutenant Fletcher, so these guys can't see him, even though he's eliminated. They can't see him because of terrain considerations, not because of the light. And nobody else can reach him. Checking once. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, nothing else. Alright, cool. That's going to wrap things up for the Argentinian offensive fire, or direct fire. Argentinian movement, I'm good. Our defensive fire from the British. Again, everything's hidden or too far away. We kind of hit that initial picket line. There was a good bit of violence right in here. And now the battlefield is kind of entering a bit of a lull. The British don't have any onboard mortars, so they can't call in. Okay. Checking once, checking twice. Okay, cool. That's it for British defensive fire. Argentinian advance and assault phase. We're good. There's no Argentinian after action phase. We'll go to British turn 3. Now we'll check the chat. Oh wow, check it out. We got more people in the chat. Alrighty. So Walkabout Game says, hello all, how's it going? Yeah. I'm not sure yet. The British have cracked the first line of Argentinian defense there, Chris. However, they took some casualties doing it. I pretty much lost a squad and a half up here under Lieutenant Fletcher. One casualty has already bled out and died on the battlefield. It's a miracle these other guys haven't bled out yet. But yeah, we'll see what happens. We're doing the best we can. The British are going to kind of pause and try to get their casualties under control. If they just keep charging, wild bayonet style, that's great. Right now, I think they're going to use a little bit of artillery to try to, soften things up a little bit. And while the infantry and the medics try to get the casualty situation under control. Because a lot of guys are bleeding right now. And modern Valor and Victory, Valor and Victory modern expansion, it's not just about attacks and assaults. It's about, you have to take care of your guys too. Because modern combat. Is this taking place around Stanley? Close. It's taking place here on what's called Summer Days Peak. So it's the northern peak of what they call the Two Sisters. This is Z Company, 45th Royal Marine Commando, specifically 7th, 8th, and 9th Troops is what makes up Z Company, on the night of 11 to 12 June 1982. We have the actual real life commander here. Captain Cole. He was actually the guy in charge of Z Company, and then we have Lieutenant Dieter, one of the 3 troop leaders. Dieter specifically is in charge of E Troop, 45th Royal Marine Commandos. He is the guy who won the Military Cross, and so far he's been holding up to his historical role because he's the guy that's assaulted the first position and taken the first casualties. The other 2 commanders are just named after British military historians, which brings me to my boy Lieutenant Fletcher from the David Fletcher from the Tank Museum, boy with the Tank Museum, who just all by himself, single-handedly, charged into these rocks. The these quartzite rocks. You get these rocks that you see charge into one of these, where at the moment he's got 8 wounded Argentinian prisoners under his charge, all by himself. He lost a platoon and a half, or a squad and a half back here, and a medic team, so he basically lost 2 full squads back here. But by himself, he ran up here and took 8 prisoners. Because this game has been pretty chaotic so far. So talk about, John adds, it's before they reach Stanley. Yeah, so one good thing about the Carlos Menendez, I think his name was, the Argentinian commander overall, was he surrendered before it got into a street fight. Once you have things like Wireless Ridge and Tumbledown in British hands, we had some British 105mm howitzers actually beginning to shell positions around Stanley. That was it. He saw the writing on the wall. He knew more further help was coming from Argentina, and he ran up the white flag. So, yeah, he could have hedgehogged in the town and forced a little mini Stalingrad street battle in Stalingrad, but he didn't do it. So, to my knowledge, there wasn't really any actual street fighting in Stanley when the British came and took the Falklands back. There was a little bit of a battle, like the Battle of Governor House and stuff like that, a little bit of a shootout when the Argentinians first came in. But when the April 2nd, Operation Azul or Rosario, depending on what you read. There were basically 2 versions of the same plan. That's the Argentinian invasion of the Falklands to April 1982. However, when the British came back in, there wasn't too much of a fight in Stanley, to my knowledge. Cool, awesome, thanks, John. No worries. I thought you saved bad rolls for the Brits next weekend. What's going on next? Oh, American Independence Day. I don't know if I'm going to be gaming next weekend. In fact, I know I'm not going to be gaming next week. I'm going to be out of town with my dad. So I may have something prepared. Spoiler alert, it will not be American Revolution. We've done American Revolution a bunch of times now. We did American Revolution last Independence Day, and we did American Revolution for the Battle of Trenton. This time we're going to do something different. Because, how much American Revolution can we do? There's some other conflicts that we can do with some pretty important anniversaries. Remember, I think Sunday, when our normal content comes out, is not July 4th, it's technically July 3rd. There are some pretty important things that happen in American military history on July 3rd. Like the largest battle in the history of the Western Hemisphere. Yeah, it may be a bit of a thing. We might go into on July 3rd, next Sunday. But again, I can't promise anything because I haven't filmed it yet, and it may not work. All right, cool. So we just started. Oh, I totally lost my place. We are starting British turn 3, right? I'm going to assume that's correct, even though it may not be. All right, cool. Starting British turn 3. First thing that happens, everything that is everything that is pinned automatically rallies. It's good news for the British, because they have a lot to do, and they have to stop screwing around. Alright, these assaults have gone in, so I'll just move those out of the way for a minute. Okay. Again, the flares we assess during the Argentinian turn, not the British turn. So we'll leave those alone for now. Okay, to finish up the command phase for the British, any divisions? Yeah, I want to start dividing some stuff. Some of these squads are going to start to divide. So I'm tired of pinning down entire full squads every time I have to take casualty points. One of the things I love about Valor Victory is how you can combine and divide squads, and the subtle effects it has on the game. So I just took a 10-point squad and I divided it into 2 5-point squads. Why? Oh, trust me, it helps. And it hurts. There are pros and cons to both configurations. It depends on what you're doing. You want to, be careful about how you do it and when. One of the things it does do, that's pretty straightforward, it makes your units a little bit spongier when it comes to taking casualties. Why? Because your 8-man section, Just did the same thing again. Your 8-man section is now in two 4-man fire teams. So it's a little bit more spread out inside these hexes. These hexes are about 30 meters across. Ergo, when a mortar shell lands in there and you got them split into 2 half squads, if you pin the 2 half squads, that's 2 casualty points, not 1. It sounds cheesy. Why is it, why don't you get 2 casualty points when you pin a full squad? When you pin 2 half squads, dude, trust me, it matters. It matters for assaults. It matters for taking artillery fire, machine gun fire, fire lanes. It matters for all the things. And it's about how you're configuring your squads within the hex. There's combat taking place within the hex. Combat decisions taking place within the hex. And without, drilling down into absurd levels of detail, the game, allows you to make certain sergeant level decisions, even though you're playing a captain and lieutenant level game. Okay, so that takes care of my divisions. Now I go to direct fire. No, I'm going to finish up my command phase. I'll try and drop a flare right here. Let's see if it works. Of course it doesn't work. You guys are seeing, that was a 6. You guys are seeing these dice, right? Alright, which way does it go? 1, 2 hexes. Up there, it illuminates exactly nothing. Piss off, I'm doing it again. There we go. Using up another one of my flares. Here. Okay, awesome. Now, although I should make these flare 1. Because they're only on there first time. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and drop in my heavy barrage here and some HE here. The British are pretty much using up all their fire, their off-board fire here. I'm going to save one more for a flare because I have to. Alright, here I go with the heavy barrage. Finally, that's not even a good roll. That's an average roll. That's literally a 7 on 2d6. That's a perfectly average roll. 7 on a heavy barrage is 5 casualty points. One, 2, 3, 4, and he's pinned. Right, that is 2 more casualty markers for the Argentinians. Okay, and now my light barrage. Actually, I'm going to save that light barrage. I got to save at least 2 more for flares. Okay. Cool. That takes care of my command phase. Alright, moving on to the direct fire phase. There really isn't much. So, not going to do much. Fletcher's like, I need some support up here. 1, 2, 3. Stay behind the ledge so I don't take opportunity fire. 1, 2, 3, because I went up the slope. 4, 5, 6. I can sort the rest of that out during the advance and assault phase. So with fire more or less suppressed down here, I knocked off those 2 half squads with a GPMG, basically an FN mag up there. That could have caused some problems if I went for that objective X. One, 2, 3. Well, that's kind of cheesy. I'll just stay there. No, that mortar's gonna hit me, dude. So he's going to go up, he's going to tag that objective hex. It's about to flicker out anyway. In fact, no, because the Argentinians can call in more flares. But if they call in a flare, they can't fire. Okay, yeah, he's going to go ahead and stay there. It's a little less cheesy. I'm not moving everyone out of this hex. I got to leave somebody in there to evacuate that casualty. Actually, Cole will take the section that has the extra L7, and this guy will stay back here to hopefully evacuate that casualty. Here we have 2 Argentinian casualties. And they're not in a mad rush, a mad bayonet charge, because they have a lot to sort out back here. There's a lot going on. There's prisoners running around. There's people bleeding out. There's friendlies that are, screaming for help. There's prisoners that have to get processed to the rear. There's a lot of stuff going on. Okay, so that will be it for British movement. The Argentinians couldn't see much of it. Even this guy, who's now fully illuminated. Oh, wait. Oh shit, defensive fire. I'm not doing that. I am not even doing that. This whole gaggle, they wind up back here. And I'll show you why in a minute. Rather than stand up on their 2 feet and literally waltz, hippity hop mob stop, lighting cigarettes and joking and smoking like they're back on the block, they're just going to walk into F6 and take that objective hex. And thus, during Argentinian defensive fire phase, eat a friggin' expertly placed mortar shell with a -2 because of the major. He's personally directing mortar fire. He would land that right there on F6, and the way the Argentinians have been rolling with a -2 bonus and no cover, because F6 is an open hex, what they're going to do instead is they're going to go here into Echo 6, and then after the defensive fire phase has passed, they get down on their bellies and they low crawl into that hex via the advance and assault phase. Because Valor Victory actually teaches a little bit of real-life infantry tactics in a casual level. And by the time the Argentinians can launch another shell there, this flare will have gone out during the Argentinian command phase, and in order to drop another flare there, that's going to be what that mortar does. And he can't launch a flare and an HE mission in the same segment. Alright, so, cool. Leave that alone for now. And now that's going to be it for movement. Defensive fire, checking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nope, because he's right behind those rocks. Those rocks blocking out of sight. And he's too far away, and he's not, for darkness, and he is... In a daylight battle, there would be a line of sight. No, because the rocks were there. Never mind. Okay, that's it for defensive fire. I'm just checking, make sure the Argentinians can, in fact, do nothing. The Argentinians can, in fact, not do anything. Alright, cool. Then we go to advance and assault phase. Because there was no opportunity fire, no defensive fire, British advance and assault phase. Now they go in there and take that hex on their bellies. He's creeping up behind those rocks. They're cool, they're cool. I'm going to get some additional guys in here. Not, I'm going to keep one guy in there. Basically, Flesher needs a new squad. The Argentinians are still winning on points. Okay. And then we go to, that's it for advance and assault phase. Make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay, we then go to after action phase. This guy is going to try to evacuate that casualty. He needs a 7 or less. He does it. He bandages up his brother and sends him back. They're going to pick him up on the boat. He's okay. Now, we have 2 POWs here. Dyer is going to go ahead and try to evacuate one. he does so on an 8 or less because he has a -1 bonus. A 7, he doesn't. This whole dice tray isn't showing. There we go. Alright, so that is victory points for the British. It's not just I killed the Argentinians, I took some of them prisoner. Now this guy here, this half squad, is going to try the same thing. He does not get Dyer's leadership bonus. He only gets, because Dieter, I should say, only gets to apply that once. He did it for himself. So now we need a 7 or less to evacuate this casualty. 7, he barely made it. Cool. So we've got some prisoners heading back. Same here. Fletcher needs an 8 or less. He makes it on a 7. All right, the British dice rolls are turning around a little bit. And now we've got 2 squads in there, but there's only 1 prisoner of war hex there, so I'm only going to use it once. So I can only roll for him once, is what I should say. 9, he fails. That prisoner is still unsecured. Meanwhile, this medic automatically safely evacuates 1 prisoner. These are actually Argentinian victory points. So I'll put them down here. These are British victory points. And they are prisoners, so they are technically unsecured. Basically, they're double points. Okay. And now we have to see if this other guy here bleeds out. Hopefully not. Come on, dude. Hold on one more turn. The medic is literally coming to you. Nope. He doesn't make it through triage. He slips away. So he is now an unsecured casualty. So that's 2 unsecured and 3 secured. That is 4 and 4, 8, 10, 12, 14 victory points for the Argentinians, just some British casualties. British were taking some casualties coming up this hill. Okay, fortunately, the Argentinians are also taking plenty of casualties. The good news is, not really good news. Yeah. The good news for the British is right now 3 of them are prisoners, so those are double points. All right, so before we start Argentinian turn 3, I'll catch up on the chat. Oh hell, it's Pickett's charge on the 3rd, isn't it? Yeah, we're hopefully doing Gettysburg. The Avalon Hill, it's an entry-level game. There are multiple Gettysburg games that Avalon Hill produced back in the 60s and 70s that you can do. Some of them are entry-level, some of them are, oh my god, like, they make Painter Leader look easy, you know, kind of levels. So, I have both. Obviously, I'm going to do the easier one. I'm going to try to film a couple turns of that and put it up as content on Sunday. Because I will be out of town. I will not be streaming anything on Sunday. However, as always, I do like to put out some content on Sunday just so you guys have something to watch on Sunday. So there will be, hopefully, again, if it works, there'll be some content Gettysburg related. So technically it's July 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. But yeah, long story short, we're going for Gettysburg, American Civil War, because I think for the last 2 or 3 American Independence Days we've done the American Revolution. That's getting old, especially since there was no actual battle on July 4th, 1776. That I know of. Okay, so that will wrap things up for the British turn. We now go to Argentinian turn 3 and the halfway point of the game. So these flares flicker out. This flare goes to flare 2. Okay, and that will wrap up flares. The Argentinians have nothing left. For off-board missions. On-board missions, so basically we go now strictly to direct fire. Ooh, I'm sorry, they also rally. Alright, cool. Alright, that's used up. Okay, so now we go to direct fire for the Argentinians. Yeah, here we see the British planning. Just kind of paid off. Because I have no off-board missions left. Argentinian defensive artillery fire wasn't the best. There is a mortar in play that can drop more flares, but that's what it's doing for this turn. It can't now launch additional shells until later on in the turn sequence. So for now, it's going to drop a flare. Because surprise, surprise. Clearly, the British are about to make a push. I'm going to put the flare right there. And because it's an odd-board mission, and I do have a guy with line of sight on it, I don't have to... Do I? Ooh, maybe I don't. Can I see that hex? Actually, no. I thought I was going to be all clever with my geometry. I don't think I can actually do that. Can't see that hex because of G10, G10. Can't see that hex because of that whole tongue of land there. Hell no. 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 No, actually I can't do that. Oh no! I can do this one, however. Alright, cool. You know what? I'll slow him down, if nothing else. So I'll drop a flare there. This way, if he decides to come at me, he'll be charging through illuminated hexes. Because clearly the Argentinian left wing here is a little wobbly at the moment, thanks to that British artillery fire. Yeah, I'm getting the shit kicked out of me on dice. Actually, the British did pretty well at the end of their turn 3. They evacuated a lot of prisoners. They evacuated some POWs. They did have one more bleed out, but they took so many casualties up front that I'm surprised I've only lost 2. All British casualties are now resolved one way or the other, so now I just have to avoid taking too many more. But that's why I divided up my squads. I told my guys to spread out a little. So when the next burst of Argentinian machine gun fire comes in, or the next mortar mission comes in, we'll be in slightly better shape. Also, the other thing is the Argentinians have used up all their off-board artillery. So. All right, so moving swiftly forward, we now go to Argentinian. Well, you're already into Argentinian. Yeah, because I've got no small arms that can follow up with that. So I'm pretty much good where I am. All right, cool. So that wraps up Argentinian direct fire, Argentinian movement. No. British defensive fire. We do have some illuminated hexes. The question now becomes, do I have line of sight / range? No. No. I have line of sight, and they are illuminated. The question is, do I have range? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No. I literally have 1 FN. So the range, guys, is the middle number. I said I wasn't going to be explaining all the rules. The range is the middle number. There is no third number here on the Bren because it's not a personnel, it's just a weapon. So basically that has a range of 6, everything else here has a range of 5. The asterisk means that half of the fire in there can shoot out to range +2. So some of this stuff has a range of 7. Basically there are more FNs and GPMGs in that squad. Again, it's baked into the section. So I can put as much as 5, 5, 3 and 2. Basically 15 points. No, I can't. Because of where he's sitting. F7 blocks it. Much ado about nothing. Sorry. Yeah, the British are taking such good cover, they can't see anything either. Line of sight is usually a two-way street. Alright, so that will wrap up defensive fire. Advance and assault for the Argentinians. Yes. I'm going to move half a squad up in here to hopefully help evacuate those casualties. Alright. We will now go to evacuate those casualties. It's part of the after action phase. Here we go with the dice tray. Lieutenant Cortazar is going to try to evacuate the 1. They're not elite, so they start on a 6. He's a -1 leader. He goes to a 7. Look at these. Look at the Argentinian rolls. The infantry squad needs a 6 or less. Snake eyes, because of course. Argentinians are going to win this game. Y'all think I'm kidding. Casualties successfully evacuated. They didn't even break a sweat. And that concludes Argentinian turn 3. Game is now half over in turns. It's a lot more than half over. Because the last 3 turns I found tend to take half as long as the first 3 turns. In some games, turn 1 is like half the game. Sometimes it's turn 2. Because the attacking force has to come on the board in turn 1. So they pretty much lose half their turn just coming on the board. Okay, British turn 4. Nothing is pinned, so nothing wrong there. I do have some more support missions. I'm calling him one of them as HE. There on that hex. Assuming anybody can see that hex. Technically, yes. You can see that hex. Alright, cool. So at least somebody can see it. Alright, here I go. The British don't get a good roll. 8 on a light barrage. It's not a terrible roll, but it's not a great roll either. Light barrage, no cover, 3 points. There's only 3 points in the hex, so I'm going to kill for that one. That's worth 2. And then Mr. Cortazar gets pinned down. That makes 3. The tables have turned. But not really. Alright, cool. I'm saving 1 last light barrage for the British to use for illumination. Okay? Cool. So, British direct fire phase. There really isn't any. Let's go straight to British movement. Captain Cole is what they call him. His unit shrink because I don't know how to use Excel. 1, he's going to go around that rock pile. 1, 2, he's illuminated, but nobody can reach him or see him. Checking. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's on the high ground. Oh my god, what about all that opportunity fire that comes in from... Oh wait, never mind. He is, now the bad news is that lots of guys... Oh shit, lots of guys can see him. Okay, maybe I won't do that. Because this... I'm sure you guys are noticing this crest is on the same level as this crest. The 50 cal can see him. And he's illuminated. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the way we do it, baby. Dun, 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 dun. Alright, Cole's gonna get sneaky and come in the back door. That sounded way more dirty than I meant it to. Using the road, so the first one is free. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Damn it, there's no officer with him. 1, 2. Make sure nobody can see me because I'm parked right next to a flare. Make sure nobody can see me. Cool. Yeah, if you don't have a leader with you, your movement rate is only 4, not 6. Speaking of which, 1, 2, 3, 4. That medic is going to take charge of that casualty, so that for the after action phase, he's going to automatically evacuate that Argentinian POW. That frees up Lieutenant Fletcher here, the Madman Fletcher, to do something else. Question is, I don't know what else he wants to do. It's tempting to charge into this hex, but I don't want to lose still more casualties. I got to take at least 3 objective hexes, though. I've got 1. This is going to give me 2 in a second, and if I take 3, I would say wait for more British artillery, but I've used up all my artillery. And shooting them out of those rocks is just not really an option. Okay, so here's what's going to happen. They're going to, because there's no flares around. 1, 2. 1, 2. And they're going to stay there. Believe it or not, they are completely cloaked in darkness. Because they haven't fired out of those hexes. So they're not spotted. And they're not adjacent. And there's no flares around. So they're going to just chill there. They're applying fresh shoe polish to their cheeks. They're getting ready for a bayonet charge at night. Now the reason I wanted to do that is because when I charge next turn, I only take 1, 2, and this guy's going to take 1, 2, 3. In other words, at the most, 3 movement points. That's going to allow me to use the assault move rule. Basically, if you move at half your allotted movement or less, you get to use what they call assault movement. It gives you a +1 bonus to your defense, regardless of the terrain. If you're in +3 terrain, now you're +4. If you're in 0 terrain, like that open field there, it's going to be -1. Also, it's going to be darkness because they're not shooting, so they won't be spotted. They won't be. Hopefully, the Argentinians won't drop a flare there, although they probably will next turn, because the Argentinian players clearly sees what's going on. Yeah, Fletcher is going to try to get ballsy one more time. We'll see what happens. Try and smash the other position there. Meanwhile, let me get the rest of my guys going here. So, 1, 2, 3. I'll just go for him. Oh, I can't because, where was he? Trying to put my platoons back together a little bit. Okay, that wraps things up. I do have a little bit of opportunity fire I can do here. Although, no, he has not fired. He's in darkness. He's not illuminated. So, he does not get that opportunity fire. This one guy that's not pinned. He can see him, but he's pinned down. And none of these guys can see him, obviously. Okay, so there is no Argentinian opportunity fire. Alright, we then go to, again, you gotta use darkness. Darkness, everybody. Alright, we then go to advanced assault phase. First thing that's gonna happen is these guys are gonna belly crawl like it's nobody's business out of that flare hex. You do not want to be there next turn. This assault is going in. Advance and assault. Advance and assault. Advance and assault. They're now on their bellies. They're crawling up the slope. These guys know they're there. They can hear them. You know, cursing in British. Cursing in, you know, they're complaining about Scottish football teams. They can hear them out there in the darkness somewhere. Once in a while, they might catch a little bit of moonlight off of a bayonet, but they're like, they can't see him to engage him. After action phase, automatically evacuates this Argentinian prisoner. That becomes an unsecured Argentinian casualty. Double victory points for the British. Oh, I totally missed something. This assault goes in, it's automatic. Because the only guy in there was pinned down. That cost me nothing. However, I do have to occupy the hex, which means I'm now on that bald murder hex, which is not going to be good. But let's see what we can do here. All right, I have a -2 leader off of an elite unit, so that becomes a grand total of 9. He evacuates the Argentinian prisoner, and now the squad that's with him needs a 7 or less. He also makes it. All right, the British are finally starting to catch a little bit of a break on the dice. These two are 2 more. We're sending back like a whole baggage train of unsecured prisoners. Look at that, 6 prisoner counters. Unfortunately, next turn is not going to be pretty, because now they own that open hex. And 50 cal, mortar, these guys are point blank. It's going to get weird. So we'll see what happens. And also they're now spotted because they're next to a flare. Okay. But it's an objective hex. You got to take the high ground. They're now in possession of some of the highest ground on the table. So they're accomplishing the mission. All right, so that will wrap up the after action phase for the British. Cool. Sweeping on now to the Argentinian turn 4. First thing that happens is, oh wait, flare 2 gone, flare 2 gone, flare 1 becomes flare 2. Sweet, I got away with it. Yeah, these guys are no longer illuminated. They are spotted because there's an enemy right next to them. So, not great, but not as bad as it could have been. Okay, Argentinian turn. First, there is no real command phase. Direct fire. There is going to be some direct fire. 50 cal in that house. Tick, 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 tick. That's only going to be 6. There's no leader in there. It's only going to be 6. And I have to cross a wall. And it's shooting at a spotted, not an illuminated target. So a total of +2 penalties on a 6 attack. That is there on the white row, adding 2 to this die roll. Argentinians with the 50 cal do it. Look at these rolls, man. Alright, you guys are, I make my rolls on camera. +2 with the penalties still gives us 7. That's not bad. 6 points, that's 1 casualty point. Somebody spend. Oh no! I might lose my company commander. Oh shit! Oh, this isn't good. The British may have just lost this game. Shit on me. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna pin the company commander. I never do this, but I gotta do it here. Because what's gonna happen now is Homeboy's gonna drop in some mortars on there. +1 for darkness, -2 for leader makes a total of -1, again on the 6th row. Turning on the camera. The way the Argentinians have been rolling, the British could easily lose the game right here. Take care, Rasmus. Oh no, here it comes. The British may lose it right here. Oh, if the Argentinians were ever going to roll badly, now was the time. Alright, so 9, that becomes an 8 because they do get a -1 bonus. -1 leader, +1 for darkness. So that 9 is actually read as an 8. On 6 points, 8, that's a miss. So it's a 6-point mortar strike. This is important, guys. This is what just may have saved the game for the British. 6-point mortar strike for a light mortar. So it's not like the light barrages, it's way up here on the 5 to 10 row. And I only rolled a 9, which after all the modifiers became an 8. They just missed it. Because what was going to happen if they did even 1 casualty point was they were going to pin down this squad. And if they could pin down that squad, guess what happens? Mr. Jorge Gonzalez here does an assault later on in the Argentinian turn, and voila, that is 2 more unsecured British casualty points. Those are worth 4 points apiece, including the company commander. The company commander just went away in zip ties. That's not good. That's not good. It just came within literally 1 digit of happening. You all saw it. Rolled live on camera. Now, there's still 4 pissed off Marines in there with an extra L7. So there's probably 4 men. 2 of them are carrying L7s. The other 2 are carrying the standard L1A1s, the SLRs. So those Argentinians probably won't attack now. But if they're all pinned, which they would have been if they scored even 1 casualty point, if that whole stack gets pinned, hang it up, dude. That's 8 more points for the Argentinians, and that's probably game. All right, so before we get going here, I will catch up on the chat because there's a lot going on here. Yeah, Ben Johnson says, bugger those dice. Hell yeah, man. They're starting to turn around a little bit, I'm happy to say. Oh yeah, I finally saw the movie Midway. It wasn't too bad. I've heard very bad things about it. I've watched some scenes. I haven't seen the whole thing end to end. I watched like some clips on YouTube. It doesn't look that great. The CGI looks fine, I guess. You can obviously tell it's CGI. But hey, what are you gonna do? Build 1-to-1 scale models of the Akagi just to blow it up? I get it. The old Martin Ball. That's not. Who was in that team? The old one, I think from the late 70s, the Midway movie. They were using what were clearly rebuilt Essex class carriers from post-war, Cold War remodel Essex class carriers. And it's like complete with the angled flight decks that nobody had in World War II. They did their best to kind of shoot around it, but yeah, it definitely looked rough. John says, I've avoided that movie like I've avoided The Patriot. That's probably a good call, John. Rasmus says, Ben, condolences on watching Midway. I was forced to go see that in the cinema. Oh, man. Yeah, I mean, I'm hearing from a lot of people that I like and trust that it's not very good. So I'm not even watching it. In related news, I have access to Disney. I don't pay for Disney because yo-ho, a pirate's life for me. Nevertheless, even though I get it for free, I'm still not watching Obi-Wan Can Blow Me. For the same reasons. Way too many people that I like and trust and whose opinions I respect have told me it is absolute dog shit. So I'm staying away from it. Ben's taking off though. Gotta go. Got a meeting at 8 p.m. Yeah, we are running our stream a little late today, guys, so I do apologize for that. Good game, says Ben. Yeah, we're almost done. We've only got like 2.5 turns left, and they go pretty quick from here. Gotta run myself, gents. Oh wow, everyone's taking off. Okay, no worries. If anyone hasn't seen the Op Center on the Falklands, do so. Yeah, we had a good time with those. The sound isn't so hot. I was using a different microphone in those days, so I apologize for the audience. But yeah, Yes, but don't use them as a source when talking history. What are you talking about, man? Those are op centers. Are you talking about the operation room, or are you talking about the op centers that I create? The op centers that I create, it's not terribly detailed by design. Number one, they're only allowed to be like 20 minutes long, so I can't get too deep into the history on it. But I'm pretty sure that what is in there is pretty close to 100%. Granted, it doesn't get too deep into a lot of detail, in all fairness. Now, if you're talking about the operations room, Rasmus, hopefully those, I haven't watched too many of them, so I can't really say whether or not they're accurate or not. I did see the one on Gulf War, Day 1 Air Operations of Gulf War, which was pretty good, but I can't comment on the whole series as a whole. I was talking about the movies. Oh, gotcha. No worries. Oh, neither of those Midway movies are terribly good historically. From what I hear, the recent Midway movie is absolutely terrible. I don't know how true that is because I haven't seen it myself, but like I said, a lot of people that I like, trust, and know have said it's not very good. So now that we're on let's wrap up the rest of this Argentinian turn here. I'm thinking about launching that assault anyway. I am seriously thinking about launching that assault anyway as the Argentinian player. Down here at the bottom of the screen, Hotel 11. Because I'm already point blank, so there's no opportunity fire. I can use one grenade. Obviously, the British are going to use one grenade. And I'm going to automatically inflict one British casualty point. I'm going to take British casualty points, but only if I fail, which I probably will. Let's be honest. But the way the Argentinians have been rolling lately, you know what? They're going for it. It's a duel of the bayonets at the absolute top of the mountain. It's like something out of a Michael Bay movie. Alright, here we go. This guy wants his Medal of Valor. And Captain Cole is out of gas. That's already been decided. Because he's been down. Okay, so let's go ahead and resolve this assault and wrap up the Argentinian turn. Sweet. So here we go with too far away. Okay, cool. I was just making sure this guy couldn't take direct fire. Okay, so assault phase. 4 versus 8, that is 1 to 2 odds. Both sides have a grenade. No leader because he can't help. Here we go. The odds are against it. I think the Argentinians have to roll a 5 or less. But the way they've been rolling, hey, you never know. Even if they lose, it's still a good move. I'm trading 2 victory points for 1 victory point. But let's see what happens here. If I succeed in this as the Argentinian player, that's going to be awesome. That is not even going to lie. That's going to be awesome. All right, here we go. 5 or less. Oh, hell no. The Argentinians have officially run out of luck. Okay, so he is smoked. We knew that was coming. And, sorry, but Cole is smoked too. The British just lost their company commander. Rasmus says, or to finish the trio of bad history, Pearl Harbor. Which one? The Martin Balsam one or the Michael Bay one with Ben Affleck and Josh Hartnett, whatever his name was. They're both pretty bad. I honestly think the Michael Bay one is worse. At least when it comes to the attack on Pearl Harbor itself. I do like. I know I'm going to say something nice about the Pearl Harbor Michael Bay movie. So put away your butcher knives. I do like its breadth. Like it covers a little bit of the Battle of Britain and the Doolittle raid. It's almost like early World War II aviation, the movie, as opposed to just Pearl Harbor. Again, the one thing I really don't like about it is they falsely inserted their two bullshit characters, the Ben Affleck character and the Josh Hartnett character, have clumsily taken the place of the two real pilots that actually got off the ground at Pearl Harbor and managed to shoot down a couple Japanese airplanes. Just like I'm going to say something again, saying something good about Pearl Harbor, I'm going to say something bad about Saving Private Ryan. I do not like or approve, Mr. Tom Hanks, America's sweetheart, appropriating American history and inserting himself as commander of Charlie Company 2nd Ranger Battalion, which, looking at where they put him in that Omaha Beach scene, is the only guy he can be. They literally just smothered a real American officer out of existence and replaced him with Captain John Miller or whoever the hell he is. There was only one unit of Rangers that went in with the first wave with the 29th at Doyle Green on 6 June 1944. There's only one officer he can be, and or one captain actually he can be, I should say. There were 2 other companies that went in later, but obviously he goes in with some of the first waves, so it's clearly supposed to be Charlie Company. And they even kind of indirectly confirm this later in the movie when they're talking about what's left of his company. We get the pick of the litter, quote, we get the pick of the litter and the rest get folded into Baker. That's B Company. They didn't use Bravo in those days. It wasn't Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta. It was Able, Baker, Charlie, Dog. They just had a different naming convention in those days. Okay, so that wraps up Argentinian command phase, or Argentinian assault phase. Does anyone else want to do any advance and assault? Actually, I don't think so. Cool. That will wrap up things for the Argentinians. We now begin British turn 5. So this is why I like things like Band of Brothers a little bit more, or the Pacific, which again, Tom Hanks was also heavily involved in. Because even though they may not get everything exactly right with the real people, they at least use the real people. Like, for example, Blythe, the guy who gets shot through both sides of the throat in episode 3, and he winds up dying. He's the guy who's screaming in the bottom of the foxhole. There's no evidence to suggest that he acted like that at the Battle of Carentan. And he survived his wounds, and I think he wound up retiring in the 60s as a lieutenant colonel or something. Like a first sergeant or something. He was in the Army for a long time. He does not die there. So they play a little fast and loose with some of the personal history, but now you're down to individual people and like what happened to them after the war. So it's a lot smaller of a deal than like gross mistakes, large mistakes. All right. Anyway, nothing's pinned for the British, so we're gonna go straight to support phase. I have. Oh man. Okay, when the Argentinians launched that mortar strike against that hex and missed, that may have been decisive. Because what I meant to do was drop a flare right here, but I didn't do it. Now this Fletcher squad is going to be able to rush in. Oh no! I tried to destroy. Well, then again, this was also a guy with a hex with a pinned down unit in the open. It was illuminated or spotted at the time. He's not spotted now because the guy next to him has been destroyed. Oh boy. Nevertheless, that may have been decisive. I still think I made the right decision as the Argentinian player. but we'll see what happens. All right, so command phase done. Actually, no. Excuse much. We are recombining 2 squads because we're getting ready for an assault. Alright, so those 2 half squads combined into a full squad. We're going to see why as soon as I get to the British movement phase. Rasmus probably already sees what's coming. Cool. I'm just checking to make sure there's no other defensive or direct fire. The British, by the way, have no onboard mortars because those mortars are usually up at battalion level, especially for the commandos. I.e., there they are, the last mortar mission. Okay, we're going to go straight to British movement phase. Hold on, did I rally him? Oh, he's destroyed. Never mind. Oh, sorry. At the end of the Argentinian phase, I was supposed to see if he bled out. Even though that just happened, any casualties on the board at the very end of the turn is the bleed out check in modern expansion Valor Victory. 5 or 6. 1, he does not bleed out. Okay, just checking. All right, now we're back on turn 5 for the British. Direct fire phase, there really isn't any, so we go straight to movement phase. 1, 2, and oh hell yeah, he is using assault movement roll, because he moved less than half. And why, oh why did he combine those 2 half squads into 1 full squad? 1, 2, 3. That stack is still legal because I combined that squad. And the whole squad, both stacks, which is now 1 stack, they all used only they all used only less than half, only half or less of their movement points, so they can all use the assault movement roll. Unfortunately, I can't squeeze that medic in, because I'm going to take some casualties clearing out that hex. So he's going to have to stay there for now. Oh boy. However, these guys do get -2. This is the Argentinians' last real shot here. They do get -2 bonus for point blank opportunity fire. They are spotted but not illuminated. Ergo, -1. So let me count this up on the camera. Okay, the Argentinians get 2 to their credit because of point blank opportunity fire. They're now taking point blank opportunity fire, so they can throw in as many grenades as they have infantry units in the hex. They have 2 grenades left. They're throwing them both in. Now's the time. Nunez, unfortunately, has a -0 command, so they get no bonus for that. The British have +1 for darkness. The British have +1 for assault move. So it's going to come down to a grand total of -2 for the Argentinians. Grand total of 10 points in the hex. 4, 4, and 2. 1 full squad and a little lieutenant. Everybody else cannot see him because they're tucked directly against the elevation line. So 10 points. They need a... they get to subtract 2 from this roll. Oh boy. So the British are taking at least some losses going in here. Here we go, the Argentinian roll. This could decide it. Ooh, a pretty bad roll for the Argentinians. A 9 becomes a 7. After that net -2 that we discussed. So 7 on 10, that's 1 casualty point. That's not so bad. And my dice tray is out of focus. Yes, of course it is. There we go. Alright, the British kind of got away with that. I'm going to pin down Lieutenant Snow. He's worth 1 casualty point, and I'm pinning him down. So I already have another. That's my boy Fletcher. Tank Muppet's going in, and he's going to throw in. He's got 3 points he can throw in there. So I'm going to throw in the last 3 British grenades. I got to win this. So he's thrown in his last 3 grenades. The Argentinians can throw in no more grenades because they just used them up on opportunity fire. So, oh my God, it is going to be, again with the camera, it is going to be -1 for Fletcher's leadership bonus. It's going to be -3 for the 3 grenades I'm throwing in there. It's going to be -0 for no more Argentinian grenades, and -0 for Nunez's Nunez's leadership role. So the British get to subtract 3 from the roll. That's very good news for the British. We have a grand total of 17 points against my 10. It's 1-1. 17 to 10 is 1-1. Because of course it is. However, I get to subtract 3 from my roll. So I need to roll a 9 or less. This is important. If the British flub this could be very, very bad. The Argentinians could steal the game here. Come on, Americans. Come on, British. You need a 9 or less. Sweet. With a 4, the British luck finally decides to stop being a cheesy Friday night horror and go for it. Cool. So that was a successful assault. Destroyed automatically because of successful assault. Where are my Argentinian casualty markers? Boom, boom, boom. These are all used up. That was a fair amount of violence. Okay, now, there were 3 infantry units in the hex. Right? Plus 3 for rocks. I gotta pay 6 casualty points as the British player. That was a bloody, bloody mess. I'm just going to take care of that squad. That's a full squad. That was 2 more casualty points. Or 2 more casualty counters, I should say, for the British. So a grand total of 20 men are casualties of some sort or another. Killed, wounded, or potentially captured. Snow is still back here pinned down. Okay, now we will do advanced assault phase. The medic can't quite get in the hex, but he can start to get up there as close as he can to wrap that up. Okay, it is... Hell, I never moved the rest of this force over here. Okay, let me finish up the rest of the British movement. Sorry about that, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4. This guy is going to walk into this hex and take control of that casualty. Then comes the advance and assault phase. Come up on top of there. Go down there. Go up here. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, hugging that elevation line to keep from taking too much fire. Okay, so now we're going to do after action phase. Oh my God, what the deuce? I'm on the wrong turn. One, 2, because I'm going up a hill. 3, 4. Then he uses advance and assault to get up there. I'm just going to move in here to take that, hopefully get extra victory points for taking that guy prisoner. before he bleeds out. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. Put them both up there. It's still legal because there's only 3 active infantry units in that hex. That way, if I take a bunch of casualties, I can pin guys down and not hopefully losing more actual people. This guy's moving of 6 because he has an officer with him. 1, 2, 3, crosses. No, the stream doesn't cost anything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now over here to wrap this up. Oh my god. Okay, priority is taking care of our own guys. So Fletcher is going to roll 8 or less because he's an officer and elite. He barely makes it. Secured casualty. The guy that's in there with him, or the half squad that's in there with him, is going to roll a 7 or less because he's elite. He succeeds. There are now 2 infantry units in there. The Valor Victory modern expansion rules specify that you can, that each infantry unit can handle up to 2 casualty markers for prisoners, I should say, prisoner of war markers. So those guys are still secured. Snow, does Snow rally? He has to roll for it. 7 or less because he's elite. 10. It doesn't matter because he rolled badly anyway, but he does not, by the way, get to apply his leadership bonus on himself while he's moving. Oh man, which means he might get assaulted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It could happen. Oh no. He'll get the, oh no, he could get assaulted. The Argentinians might still steal this game. Holy crap. Oh no. Alright, we'll see what happens. Okay, that takes care of all that. That was a costly assault. I probably shouldn't have done that. Because I'm going to get assaulted. And I've used up all my grenades. Oh boy. Alright, that's the end of turn 5. That's the end of British turn 5. Let me roll to evacuate this casualty. 8. There's no officers in there, so failed. Let me try to evacuate this POW. Fail. Oh boy. All right. Argentinian turn 5. Fletcher's going for some silverware on the chest. Yeah. That's if he doesn't get an Argentinian bayonet in the lungs. Because he's about to get friggin' assaulted, man. Yeah. Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. Yep, the Argentinians are going to try and steal this game back. Oh crap. Alright, let's see what happens. Oh no! Fletcher! What's gonna happen, man? Oh god. Alright. Opportunity fire. Snow can't do anything because he's pinned. We have Fletcher and a half squad, a grand total of 7 points. He does get to subtract 2 from the die roll because he is point blank. Can't throw any grenades in there. I get to subtract 1 because of Fletcher himself, right? Yeah, so a grand total of subtract 3 from the die roll. This would be a nice time to really roll well. He's going to put it against the biggest stack coming in against him. That's that stack there to the northeast. -3 from this roll. This would be a good time for Snake Eyes. This would be a good time for Snake Eyes. Tank Muppet! Do it for the win! I got 1-1. Okay, so that's a 6. That gets red as a 3. 7 points, red as a 7 points. It's here. A 3 is 5 casualty points. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I will pin the man Medina. Funky Cole Medina. 2 more casualty markers for the Argentinians. Argentinians are not going gently into that good night. Oh my god. Okay, so that part of the assault is broken up. Unfortunately, here comes the other part. I'm taking out the medic and also Mr. Snow. Now the medic, notice he has a attack factor of 0 star. He gets 2 points in defense when he's taking an assault. He has a pistol, he has a rifle, he will defend his casualties. He will defend himself, obviously, or his comrades. But he is a medic, so that's why he technically has 0 until he gets assaulted. There's Argentinians coming at him with a knife and a bayonet. He does get to fight back. So still, we're talking about 10 to 2. That's 5 to 1 odds. Number 1, he's automatically lost because he was pinned down. The casualty markers were stacking up everywhere. Okay, and then we have a grand total of 10. Again, 10 versus 2. Is that 0 star? The reason that star is there is he gets 2 points when fending off an assault. So 5 to 1, no penalties, no bonuses. The enemy has to roll a 10 or less, because that's as high as the table goes. Be a good time for the Argentinians to roll an 11 or 12. Then again, why am I rooting automatically for the British to win? If we'd gotten the time right with Dylan, I would be playing the Argentinians. I would be trying to win this roll. So, do it. A 9, damn close to failure. But that is another unsecured British casualty. The British have now lost both their medic teams. Oh no! And the Argentinians own that hex. In their after action phase, they're going to try to evacuate some of those casualties as unsecured. And thus double victory points. Oh boy. God knows it costs them enough though. This assault is also going in, although it's kind of a bad idea. But I already declared it. 8 points versus 8 points, 1 to 1. I have to add 1 to the die roll, however, because of Fletcher. Oh no, 5 or less. Yeah, this is definitely a bad idea. But I already kind of declared it. Alright, here I go. 5 or less. The Argentinians. Alright, they failed by 2. Which means that, dude, Fletcher is legit, man. Fletcher just beat that assault. First of all, he shot these guys all to hell and gone, and then he just fended off this assault. So, the Argentinians needed a 5. They rolled a 7, so they blew it by 2. 2 casualty points for that, plus 1 for each infantry unit in the hex. That's 2 more. And plus 3 for the terrain bonus of the hex being targeted. Those are the rocks. So I have to take a grand total of 7 casualty points. There's only 4 there. No amount of pinning shenanigans is going to save you from that. Look at that just castle of wrecked Argentinian counters, man. They went for it. They went for it. Was it worth it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It will be worth it. Oh, I should say pinned. Sorry, let me be fair here. because there was one infantry unit in the hex, and no terrain bonus. So that's one casualty point assessed against the successful assault. So I'm just going to pin down that half squad. All right, so it depends on whether or not I can successfully evacuate those 2 POWs. So Nunez has to roll a 6 or less. Oh, he barely missed, and so does the half squad with him. He also fails. Oh no! Okay. That is the end of, mercifully, that is the end of an atrocious Argentinian turn where they got a little too aggressive there. I have a grand total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 casualty hexes. No one is alive in any of those hexes to evacuate. Oh wait, no, these 3 belong to the British. So I got 4 new ones. So I'm going to roll for 4 bleed outs. They're all good. A 5 or a 6 is a bleed out. Okay. The British own that one. The British own that one. That concludes Argentinian turn 5. We go to the last turn of the game. Big number 6. Okay, British command phase. I'm calling in my last artillery mission, Danger Close. Watch the British land their mission on themselves. First of all, anything that's pinned automatically rounds. Nothing is pinned, British-wise. The last flares are gone. Okay, which we should have done during the Argentinian fire phase. Argentinians never dropped mortars during their turn on this hex. We take care of that super fast. 6 minus 2. Snake eyes. Argentinians may have just won the game. So snake eyes on 6 is 6 casualty points. It would technically be 0 because there's a -2 leader in there. There are 3 units in there. So I'm going to knock this guy down to a half squad. That was 3 points, from 6 to 3. And then I'm going to pin the other 3. Okay, and then just to bring the turn sequence back up to date, I'm going to try to rally those. Though that doesn't happen, that happens now. At the beginning of British command phase. And that does cause another casualty counter in the hex for the half squad. Alright, cool. That wasn't as bad as I thought. Just for fun, let's see if any of these guys are now Valors. So Heimet gets a 6 because he's an officer, -2, so he needs an 8 or less. Oh god, no. He gives all the credit in the battle report to his mortar crew. Speaking of mortar crew, he technically needs a 4 or less, so that's not great. Oh man, all these terrible rolls all of a sudden. I was just seeing if any of these mortar crew became Valors. Whenever you roll snake eyes, on an anti-personnel firepower check, you have the potential to become Valorous. And a little medal gets affixed to the counter, and that unit for the rest of the game gets all kinds of bonuses. Alright, so we're now in the British command phase. They all rallied automatically. I'm going to go try and rescue those prisoners. I'm going to try and steal these 2 guys back. So I can't call in artillery on my own casualties. I think there might actually be a rule about that. I can't remember if I wrote that rule or not. But I can see them. These guys see that. So line of sight is here. go with, let's see if it lands where it's supposed to. Yes. 6 plus 2 because of building. Yeah. 9 plus 2, what you do about nothing. Alright, that takes care of the British command phase. Use of all our artillery now. Cool, now we go to British direct fire. Fletcher and his boy are going to shoot northwest. 7 points. I have no grenades, so I can't use any point blank bonuses. I do get a -1, however, because of Fletcher's command bonus. Grand total of 7 minus 1. Or -1 off of 7. Everyone's running out of ammunition, I guess. Okay. And that's it. British movement phase. Seven points. No, 6 points. 6 points versus 6 points minus 2. Because of point blank opportunity fire. Again, look at these rolls. That was a good break for the British. It's only 6 points on Argentinian half squad and Nunez, Lieutenant Nunez. If he had rolled well, because it's point blank opportunity fire, Dietor's literally just running straight at him in the darkness. Technically, I have to add 1 for darkness because he's not spotted, so it was still, but -1 in the open, that could have been bad. Fortunately, we all saw it on camera. The British got a really lucky break there. The Argentinians have finally learned how to roll badly. So that opportunity fire pretty much went nowhere. Okay, cool. So here's what's going to happen. If I abandon those casualties, so to finish up the movement phase, that guy's assaulting into that hex. Automatically killed, automatically eliminated, and it creates a new casualty. Oh, technically that shot over. Oh, there was a flare there before, but now it's gone. All right, never mind. Because technically that's no longer eliminated. This mortar strike over here. Wait a minute. I'm checking the history of turns here. So turn 4, this is where I dropped a mortar mission here and failed. During the Argentinian turn when I should have done this. Turn 5, Argentinians drop a new flare here, making sure that this result is legal. During British defensive fire, or during their defensive fire in the British turn, okay, and then they didn't leave, and then on the Argentinian turn on turn 5, that flare is now reduced to a flare 2. Flare on turn 2, and then the mortar mission can land there. Okay, cool. So now turn 6, that flare is technically still there, because it's not, we have not yet reached the, where the hell is my flare? We have not yet reached the Argentinian artillery phase. Let's be fair. Let's play the right way. The British don't want to abandon that hex because it is an objective, and on the end turn, the Argentinians could reach out and grab it in a cheesy way. Also, there are two there are two casualty counters that they have not been able to evacuate, which I forgot to roll as well. So again, I'm going back to turn 5. They failed on that one. On turn 4. They failed on turn 5. When the new casualty was created. And it's not their turn yet. Okay, cool. We're all caught up. Fletcher's going for some silverware on the chest, says Rasmus. Absolutely. Fletcher really wants the silverware. Absolutely. Is there not rocks as it is so dark they did not see where it landed? I'm not sure what that's in reference to. There was a slight hiccup back here with the flares and the illumination and the mortar round, but I just went back and fixed it. What makes it tricky is that the Argentinian mortars get to shoot twice a turn. They get to shoot once in the defensive fire phase of the British turn, and they get to shoot again during the direct fire phase of their turn. So that mortar can pretty much drop a shell once a turn. It can illuminate it on the British defensive fire phase, and then on their own direct fire phase, they can drop the HE, and the flare is still there. Like, they won't be able to do that again because during the Argentinian command phase, which happens first, that flare too will disappear. So they won't get another shot at that. But the shot that they did get, they knocked down that hex there, that counter there, that does still count. Okay, now I totally lost track of where the hell I was. That's right, assaults. That's taken care of. He's staying put because he doesn't want to abandon these casualties. However, one of them is now no longer a prisoner. So I'll just move him here to keep him straight. Because again, one infantry figure can only handle 2 casualties. I know I'm going to lose a casualty here, as far as a prisoner of war goes. I just wanted to inflict 1 more casualty. Okay, and now this assault goes in. This is what we were waiting for. After that disastrous opportunity fire check, it's time to get serious. First thing that happens, this guy is automatically toast, because he was pinned down. Alright, so now there are multiple casualties. There are both British and Argentinian casualties in that hex. So put all the casualties on the board. Okay, so we've got half squad of Argentinian infantry and Lieutenant Nunez. Dietor, 2 half squads, one of them carrying an extra L7. So we have a total of 15 points. 5, 5, and another 5. Yeah, 15 points. -1. No grenades. 15 -6. Okay, that's 2-to-1 odds. Thank God. For the British. 2-to-1 odds. Subtract 1. They need a 9 or less. Live on camera. Oh, another 3. That's the second 3 in a row that British have rolled. The Marines just needed a little time to get pissed off. Royal now they've got some blood on their bayonets. They are just sticking and stabbing. You don't give a damn. So yeah, there's a lot of casualties in that hex. Oh my god. Now there were 2 infantry units in the hex. I do have to assess 2 casualty points. Pin, and we now occupy that hex. Holy crap, there's a lot going on in that hex. But that's the way to keep your casualties down. Alright, cool. That concludes the advance and assault phase. Let's wrap things up with the casualty evacuation phase. Or the after action phase. Fletcher needs a 8 or less. Come on, Fletcher. Stay there and bleed out. I don't care about your ass. So he does not save any casualties, any prisoners of war. This guy's going to try and do the same. He gets a 7 or less. Come on, man. All of a sudden the dice are shitting on me. Okay, now Dietor gets to apply a -1. He needs a 8 or less. He's going to try to evacuate one of his own prisoners, or one of his own casualties. He fails. Oh my god. And that's it, because everybody else in that squad is, everybody else in that stack is pinned. Okay, bleed out check time. 2 British casualties in there. This is not good. They're both okay, though. Okay, down here. Please evacuate some freaking casualties, man. We have 2 chances at a 7. Success for 1, success on the other one. Okay, cool. That at least worked out. Good deal, good deal. Next, this guy is going to try to evacuate that Argentinian POW. 7. Hell no. He probably just punched him in the face. He probably just committed a war crime on that. He just clubbed him in the head with the back end of his SLR. Yeah, I got you. Did you have a convention? I surrendered. Yeah, I never heard of it. Here, have a taste of this. And he just belts him with the back of the SLR. That was the worst possible casualty or POW evacuation roll there, Private Hodgkins or whatever you are. Oh my god. Okay, we now go to the Argent. Oh, we're going to try to rally those guys. I have 2 pinned down units. I will try to rally them at the end of the British phase. They need 8s or less because they're elite, and there is a -1 leader in there that can help with this. Although he had just rolled that. That was for casualty evacuation. He can apply it here. 8 or less. Success on 1, and barely success on the other one. They are Royal Marine Commandos, after all. Argentinian last turn. I don't think I'm going to be doing much. Because nothing I can do will not make things worse. Now, before I screw this up again, command phase. Command phase is when we resolve the flares. That's already flare 2 on its 2nd turn. It now dissipates. Hence, this guy can still help. Just check this out. This guy, during the, so this flare goes away during the command phase. Direct fire phase. Drop another flare on there. Now, he can't drop in another mortar check, but that 50 cal can still take one last poke at these commandos and maybe knock one of them, because they are still just kind of standing there on an open axe. So 6 points, no penalties, but at least he's illuminated. So here we go. Last real Argentinian combat roll of the game. Holy shit! They got a 3. 3 on 6. That's another 5 freaking casualty points. Good God Almighty! All right, knocking him down to a half squad. He's now bringing an additional Bren gun with him. Alright, so that took care of 3 casualty points, and then we're going to pin 2 of them. And that puts another casualty point in there. God almighty. That 50 cal's doing work! Alright, so the Argentinians, what's left of them, they pretty much got tabled. Not quite as bad as I thought. They usually get tabled in these kind of games. But they put a whooping on the British, I'll tell you that. The British got some really crappy die rolls at the beginning. I don't think the British made any really bad moves. The one possible exception may have been Fletcher's stand there on K2 on turn 1. That may not have been so smart. But I was trying to get eyes on that hex, and I needed at least somebody up there to be able to see me. Okay, so we now go to the Argentinian, the end of the Argentinian turn to see if anybody bleeds out. 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 4 Argentinian casualties that are not in British-controlled hexes. In other words, they may just literally just bleed out. So here comes 4 D6s. Ooh, the Grim Reaper just swept over the battlefield and said, "I'm hungry tonight." Yeah, 3 guys just bled out. That might save the game for the British, because once they bleed out, that's double victory points for the British. He's okay, and they're under care of, at least attempting to be under care of British medics. This guy's in a British-controlled hex. That's going to be the end of the game. We just reached the end of turn 6. Valor Victory games almost always last until turn 6. Alright, so all that remains now is to figure out the score. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Damn. Nine unsecured Argentinian casualties times 2 equals 18. 2 secured, oh, hold on. We're going to go ahead and assume at the end of the game that this guy becomes secured. These guys are in British-controlled hexes. They're either going to bleed out or get captured eventually. So, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. Holy crap. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Another 8. What a grim harvest. Granted, most of these are prisoners. They are casualty markers that were in British-controlled hexes, i.e., they are going to wake up on a British hospital ship, and they get exchanged back at the end of the war. It's not like IDF paratroopers who wake up in a Palestinian basement in Beirut somewhere. So, oh my god, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I was way off on that. 17 unsecured markers, that makes 34 victory points, plus 3 secured casualties, that makes 3. And the British control 3 victory hexes for 15. So that is 3 plus 34 plus 15, 52. Okay. The Argentinians still hold 2 objective hexes, I know that. So that is 10 points. Notice the points are all doubled, because Royal Marines are worth more than Argentinian reservists. So these guys will assume they made it to the end of the game. Make sure I got them all. They'll be okay. They'll wake up back on the hospital ship. SS Mercy steaming home to a hero's welcome. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And unsecured casualties was only 2. Only 2 guys bled out or were captured. Oh, because I recaptured those hexes. And Lieutenant Nunez could not evacuate them for the one turn he held them. I literally rescued them on turn 6 as a British player. That is going to help. So it's 28-38. Oops. It's supposed to be 2. Yeah, I don't think I should have launched that last big assault there on the Argentinian right. It would have paid off if I could have wound up with some unsecured prisoners in the Argentinian hands. I did get some for a while, but then I lost them again. They were literally rescued by, who's that? Oh, the real life hero, Daitor. So yeah, he won a military cross. In real life, we can only assume that he's going to get it again. Although I think Fletcher might walk away with a ribbon as well. He's standing tall. Yeah. Yeah, the Argentinians still hold these 2 objective axes. Cool. So that game was not quite as balanced as I was hoping. The Argentinians got some pretty good die rolls, and the British got some pretty bad die rolls, and they still wound up losing pretty badly. 14 points. Almost like 30%. It's like, yeah, pretty rough. No worries at all. Old comment, says Rasmus. Okay, I got you. No worries. Rasmus 21 on 4 dice. Yeah. all of a sudden, like literally both sides started rolling like 10s and 11s, not 12s, where a sniper would be something fun and interesting. But all of a sudden, the game got really dull. Like everyone just started rolling just bad enough to not hit anything, but at the same time, not so bad that a sniper appears. And that's always fun when a sniper pops up. Even the one time I rolled Snake Eyes, nobody became Valors off of it. But that's cool. Cool. All right, guys. We've now been up for, well, a little bit longer than I expected. We're just over 3 hours. But we just played through an entire game of Valor Victory Modern Expansion, marking the 40th anniversary of the Falklands War. And perhaps appropriately, the British have walked away with a win. Of course, because they're Marines. Okay, guys, other than that, this is Ariskany Jim for another episode of the SitRep Podcast. We are rounds complete. Tango Mike for listening. Enjoy the rest of your week. Don't work too hard in the week going forward. I will not be online for the holiday weekend coming up. I'll be out of town visiting family. We will still have some content up, so keep an eye out for that. But for now, this is Ariskany Jim for the SitRep Podcast. Tango Mike as always, and we'll be in touch very soon. Take care, everybody.